Chapter 1437. The Life or Death Battle That Was Delayed 2. Dongfang Xian, Su Luo felt this was somewhat inconceivable. You're not telling me that him entering the competition this time is just to kill me? How outrageous a thing was this? Su Luo felt this was hard to imagine. But Ziyin nodded her head as if she was making a solemn vow. Absolutely, it is like this. Su Luo helplessly spread out her hands. The woman dressed in black, Li Aochen, and you guys' eldest senior brother Dongfang Xian all came because they want to kill me. Not certain about the woman dressed in black. But the two after her indeed came because of this. Ziyin said, full of certainty. Other people might know about the woman dressed in black, but Su Luo knew. She was certain the other side also came because of her. I am so unlucky, Su Luo was simply about to be speechless. Just because of one Li Yao. Moreover, every time, Su Luo merely passively defended, and the result was? Now, two such powerful characters appeared, both taking upon themselves to kill Su Luo. Su Luo felt that her encountering Li Yao really was getting 8 lifetimes of bad luck. It's not certain. Beichening saw Su Luo's mood become downcast and quickly consoled her. Maybe Dongfang Xian wanted to enter for himself and might not necessarily have any relationship with Li Yao. Ziyin unhappily rolled her eyes at him. Don't have any awareness of crisis. Do you know? At that time, when second senior brother was practice fighting with Li Yao, her finger was grazed a little. Eldest senior brother invited second senior brother out in the middle of the night and almost beat him until he was seriously injured. Eldest senior brother pampers Li Yao as if she was his life. If he was to know now that Li Yao's cultivation was all wasted, how could he not go wild? Is your eldest senior brother really that amazing? There's still Nangong Luyun present. Beichening gave a sneer. Ziyin helplessly sighed. The last time's roaming dragon list competition, because eldest senior brother had some matters to take care of and was delayed, so he didn't enter the competition. If he had participated, how could there be Luo Haoming, this matter of being number 1? Do you know how strong his strength is? However, third senior brother is very clear about this in his heart. Finished speaking, Ziyin's gaze looked directly towards Nangong Luyun. Nangong Luyun's eyes were half-narrowed. His body gave off an ice-cold air, but he remained silent and didn't speak. At this moment, the atmosphere had a strange quietness. Su Luo felt the atmosphere was extremely stifling, so she laughed twice. Hey, why are you guys worried? It's impossible for my luck to be that bad that when I draw lots I would draw Dongfang Xian, right? No matter what goal he had, as long as she didn't battle him, then it'd be fine. But there is still Li Aochen. Ziyin looked at Su Luo with sympathy. There is still that woman dressed in black. Lan Xian added as he explained. Come across my older brother, and you'll be unlikely to pass. Anya Ming calmly said. Anya Ming's elder brother was Anya Xian. Although Anya Xian traveled all year round outside, however, the two brothers' relationship was very good. Mo Xiaoshuan is also not easy to deal with. Moreover, Mo family's hatred toward you is no less than Xinyuan family. Lan Xian followed immediately with this reminder. Could you guys just shut up? Su Luo howled in grief and fell into Nangong Luyun's embrace. It was originally 13 fighting to enter the top 7. The people she couldn't beat was already a huge pile. Believe it or not that I'll draw the empty place lot again? Su Luo snorted twice. If you want to execute the dirty trick gameplay to the end, Beichen Ying's smile was as splendid as the sunlight. Then forget it. It's better to fight. Now, the remaining people were all experts. If she didn't seize the moment to have a proper fight, maybe the behind-the-scenes label would always be stuck to her forehead, because it was very likely that the next round she would be sent down the fighting stage by someone. Although she was unwilling to think of this, Nangong Luyun pulled Su Luo by the hand and carefully examined each snow-white, sparkling finger. His eyes were lowered, so no one saw that light that flitted through his eyes. Chapter 1438. The Life or Death Battle That Was Delayed 3. Since he agreed to Grandmaster Rong Yun's condition of sending Su Luo to number 2, then he must accomplish it. Nangong Luyun caressed Su Luo's snow-white, clear face. His smile was exceptionally good-looking. Could Dongfang Xian be more amazing than your man? Momentarily, all around was silent. So quiet it seemed they could hear the sound of each other's breathing. Ziyin and the others looked at each other in dismay. The following was an ambiguous scene. Should they tactfully and voluntarily withdraw? Su Luo grabbed Nangong Liuyun's waving hand with her mouth hooked up slightly, and she said, "What do you think? Trust your insight in picking a man, okay?" Nangong Liuyun's tone had a slight nasal sound, but was exceptionally demonic and alluring. "Damn his sex appeal. Always believed in you." Su Luo cupped his extremely handsome face and imprinted a kissy love bite on his face. Nangong Luyun started to laugh foolishly. Compared to that evildoer expression from just now, he was a completely different person. Bei Chen-ying's lips twitched. In a romantic relationship and would be foolish by 3 years. Sure enough, even such a wise man as His Highness Prince Jean could not escape it all. "Tomorrow, who do you want to battle?" Nangong Luyun bit Su Luo's sensitive earlobe. His voice was low but mesmerizing. Su Luo pushed him away. After all, under thousands of staring eyes, this kind of impression was not good. Her head slanted as she thought a bit, then spit out on name. A smiling expression appeared in Nangong Liuyun's eyes. Time passed in an instant. In the blink of an eye, it was the second day. On the stage drawing lots, Su Luo stood there unmoving. It was the same as in the past. In order to be fair, Su Luo simply did not have the chance to draw lots. The remaining lot, no matter if it was good or bad, would belong to her. Among 13 people, one of them with the empty place lot that would not fight. The rest of the people all had to compete. Before, there were 2 times the empty place appeared. Clearly, it was Nangong Luyun and Luo Haoming who got it. Don't know this time who would get the empty place lot. On the stage, the experts stood there indifferently. Under the stage, the discussion once again began. "Oh heavens, you guys look. That Su Luo is actually still on the stage." "That's right. All around her, the worst has strength of an 8th rank. Just her a very insignificant 5th rank. This is too dishonest, right? This isn't an era that depends on brother. Also not an era that depends on father. This is an era that depends on master. Having a good master, whatever you eat is aromatic. Mother would not have to worry about my rank again." All kinds of taunting pressure pressed towards Su Luo. But Su Luo remained unmoved as she calmly stood in place. Now already, the results of the lots came out in succession. Dongfang Xian was the first to go up and draw lots. Don't know if his luck was good or bad. He directly drew the empty place lot. All the people under the stage didn't know that this person wearing a bamboo hat was Purgatory City's eldest senior brother. Only because he was an unknown person. Therefore, everybody started to discuss again. "Don't know who this person is. It seems as if I have never heard of him." "That's right, wearing a bamboo hat. Not a bit of that face is revealed. Don't know if it is because he looks really ugly. He seemed well matched to that miss wearing a black screen hat." Su Luo listened to these discussions and rolled her eyes in annoyance. So Dongfang Xian didn't get angry? Su Luo thought like this, and her gaze couldn't help but to look towards Dongfang Xian's direction. Now, as if he could sense it, Dongfang Xian's gaze also looked towards Su Luo. In the split second their gazes met, Su Luo felt her entire body freeze, feeling as if she had fallen into hell. That pair of eyes was pitch black like continuous hell. Just coming into contact made Su Luo's whole body unable to move. A dark and terrifying aura rushed towards her forehead. Chapter 1439. The life or death battle that was delayed for? Head hurts. Su Luo held her head in pain. Quickly, a thin layer of sweat covered her forehead. Nangong Luyun did not bat an eyelid, and then stood in front of Su Luo, his complexion ashen. His eyes were sharp and bloodthirsty as he coldly stared at Dongfang Xian. The corner of Dongfang Xian's mouth hooked into a bloody smile. His smile was as terrifying as a demon, silently provoking Nangong Luyun. For a moment, on top of the entire battle stage was like an extremely dangerous place. One after another, heads suffered pain as if they were covered with pincushion. Bean-sized sweat came out of their forehead. Who was that person? Mo Xiaoxuan, with great difficulty, resisted the severe headache and asked in a low voice. At this moment, Luo Haoming's complexion was very bad. He stared at Dongfang Xian wearing the dark yellow bamboo hat, his gaze unblinking, as if he wanted to glare a hole into that bamboo hat. Anya Xian's tone had a trace of helplessness. Able to share the limelight with Nangong Luyun. In this world, there really aren't that many. At least, this person's strength was above his own. Anya Xian. Can't be right? Purgatory City's Dongfang Xian? Mo Xiaoxuan felt this was too hard to believe. This is impossible, right? Weren't the two of them from the same sect? How is it that now they look like life and death enemies with daggers drawn? Just at this moment, a wave of energy rushed madly over, and the bamboo hat on Dongfang Xian's head disappeared without a trace. Eldest senior brother. The moment Li Yaoyao saw Dongfang Xian, her entire person seemed to revive again. She almost cried from the joy. Eldest senior brother really was eldest senior brother. That person who protected her from a child till now. The eldest senior brother who wished he could cup her in the center of his palm and pamper her. Li Yaoyao recklessly rushed up to the fighting stage. Like an artillery shell, she rushed into Dongfang Xian's embrace. Eldest senior brother, boo-hoo boo-hoo, Li Yaoyao used all her strength to grab Dongfang Xian's jacket in front of his chest, as if she was drowning and grabbing onto the last duckweed. These days, Li Yaoyao had suffered enough grievances. Now, she cried like a helpless child. Dongfang Xian, who just had an imposing aura that was vast and murderous, now was like a big boy using a soft tone to comfort Li Yaoyao. Okay, don't cry anymore. If you continue to cry, you won't look good. Dongfang Xian smiled stiffly. Boo-hoo-boo. Eldest senior brother. Yao Yao is really pitiful. While Li Yaoyao sniffled, she cried until she became dizzy. Who dares to bully my family's Yao Yao? Eldest senior brother will exterminate them all. Dongfang Xian patted his chest as guarantee. It's hers. In front of Dongfang Xian, Li Yaoyao seemed to be younger by 10 years. She looked like a spoiled, willful little girl. But Dongfang Xian seemed to really like this kind of behavior. He looked in the direction Li Yaoyao pointed to. That place just so happened to be Su Luo's position. The outer corner of Su Luo's eyes provocatively hooked into a taunting smile. Li Yaoyao was really interesting, so old that she really thought she was a naive and innocent little girl about 10 years old. Too funny. But not only did Dongfang Xian feel Li Yaoyao like this was cute, he simply loved to the extreme this appearance of Li Yaoyao's. Dongfang Xian glared at Su Luo, an ice-cold killing intent slipping through his eyes. He stroked Li Yaoyao's head. In a low voice, he coaxed her. Be obedient. Wait here properly. Eldest senior brother will definitely avenge you. Okay. Li Yaoyao solemnly nodded. Yaoyao likes eldest senior brother the best. Su Luo heard this, and she started to get goosebumps. This fucking acting young had gone too far, okay? Did she really think she was a little girl wearing a flowery dress going to kindergarten? Dongfang Xian, in a pampering manner, stroked Li Yaoyao's head. Be obedient first you go down. Eldest senior brother also loves Li Yaoyao the most. Yuck. Really want to vomit, Su Luo silently ridiculed in her heart. Chapter 1440. The life or death battle that was delayed 5. A lot of people also felt the same as Su Luo, but taking into consideration of Dongfang Xian's tyrannical abuse, no one dared to utter a word of ridicule. Before Li Yaoyao left, she suddenly stood firm and turned her head. Her gaze separated by a sea of people stopped on Su Luo's body. Pleased with herself, she cast Su Luo a provocative glance. Afterwards, she strutted down the fighting stage. Eldest senior brother appearing, he definitely brought many benefits to Li Yaoyao. Not only for Su Luo's side, there was also Jade Lakesley family's side. With Dongfang Xian as a supporter, Li Yaoyao's position in Jade Lakesley family suddenly returned to her original place as the little princess. Not mentioning Li Yaoyao, who walked down the stage in high spirits, just talking about the people on the stage right now. A lot of people automatically took a step back and maintained a certain distance from the two sides. After all, when immortals fight, it would bring disaster to mortals. These two were both kings and the strongest among the younger generation. When the two fire met, the consequences would be how bitter. Behind Nangong Luyun stood Su Luo and Beichen Ying's group. Ziyin also stood firmly on Nangong Luyun's side. Ziyin, come over here. Dongfang Xian waved his hand towards Ziyin. Although Ziyin was somewhat afraid in her heart, however, she pretended to be calm on the surface. Eldest senior brother, me standing here will be fine. Dongfang Xian's complexion was puzzled. Could it be that eldest senior brother didn't treat you well? Eldest senior brother treats Li Yao Yao the best. Ziyin doesn't dare to pull oneself so high up. Ziyin smiled faintly. Dongfang Xian's complexion became increasingly ugly and only left one ruthless sentence. Nangong Luyun, you really want to be my enemy? The ends of Nangong Luyun's phoenix eyes slightly hooked up in a taunting tone. He said, if you were smart enough now, immediately depart from here. Now Master was not in the mainland, so he didn't know Luo girls matter. Wait until he returned and found out Dongfang Xian wanted to kill Su Luo. Nangong Luyun could completely imagine the scene at that time. Dongfang Xian seemed to have encountered the funniest joke in this lifetime. All at once, he laughed out loud. For what reason? For what reason did Nangong Luyun's face show that he was certain to lose? They hadn't even competed. Dongfang Xian simply didn't know Su Luo's mother's relationship with Purgatory City's master. So, he completely did not think in that direction. Just based on your ignorance and stupidity. Nangong Luyun laughed demonically. His laugh was crafty and secretive. Dongfang Xian immediately became angry, actually dared to curse him as ignorant and stupid. In an instant, Dongfang Xian's wanting to vent rage became threatening. In his eyes, he wanted to show off his ability. You are courting death. Just at this moment when daggers were drawn, all of a sudden, a gentle wind blew over. This wind was like strands of silk, a breeze that would give rise to gentle ripples on the water. But it pressured Dongfang Xian to retreat 3 steps in a row before he could stand firm. Dongfang Xian's eyes were lit like raging infernos. He coldly stared in the direction of the platform. In that place, Grandmaster Rong Yun calmly sat in the centermost imperial tutor chair. Both of his eyes was slightly closed, as if he had no interest in the clamor around him. Consider that you have worshipped a good master. Dongfang Xian lifted up his chin arrogantly and in an ice-cold manner, disdainfully casting Su Luo a glance. Afterwards, he turned around and floated far away. He got the empty place. He simply did not need to participate in this round's fights. Seeing him leave, a lot of people slowly released a breath in relief. Just now, that dagger's drawn atmosphere simply scared everyone until their hearts almost jumped out. Fortunately, Grandmaster Rong Yun stepped in. Nangong Luyun patted Su Luo's head. What's wrong? Scared silly? Su Luo faintly smiled. Aren't you here? She had no choice but to admit Dongfang Xian's cultivation was very high, not someone the current Su Luo could deal with. But who could guarantee in the future that she couldn't personally kill him? Chapter 1441. The Life or Death Battle That Was Delayed 6. Dongfang Xian. Give me 3 years' time. Watching Dongfang Xian's gradually departing back view, Su Luo's eyes half-narrowed and glittering with light. Okay, I'll leave him for you. Nangong Luyun's voice sounded behind Su Luo. Scoff, a sneering sound came from a place not far away. Su Luo looked towards that direction. The woman wearing the black screen hat. Want to kill Dongfang Xian? Su Luo, why don't you scatter some pee and use it as a mirror? Just based on your rotten strength, and still want to kill Dongfang Xian? The black screen hat woman's tone had undisguised mockery and sarcasm. In the wake of her voice, a lot of people on the stage let out a laugh. An insignificant 5th rank actually dared to boast shamelessly to say that after 3 years, she'll kill Dongfang Xian. Wasn't this a joke that would make everyone under the heavens slip down? Is there even a more ridiculous thing than this? His Highness Prince Jean actually even nodded his head? This spoiling a woman. Who would spoil a woman like this? A person that lost to me could say such brave words. Su Luo's complexion was apathetic, calm as the wind. Su Qing, you say. Am I right? Su Qing? When Su Luo said these two words, the people on Su Luo's side were all dumbfounded. Su Qing? Beichening picked his ear in disbelief. Can't be that Su Qing who got cold feet in the life or death battle from back then, right? Lan Xian scowled. Can't be this coincidental, right? On Ye Ming's brows wrinkled. Originally, I suspected this with 80% certainty. Now, I'm 100% convinced. To say it like this person certainly is Su Qing without a doubt. Since she was already recognized by people, Su Qing didn't need to try and cover it up. One could only see her slim finger grip the screen hat, and a light sound echoed. The screen hat had already landed on the ground. That was a face everyone was familiar with. After seeing this face, clearly, the spectators under the stage flared up. Su Qing. Actually, really, is Su Qing. Which Su Qing ah? Is she famous? There were spectators who came from far away and were not clear about the truth who asked. It's Su Manor's Su Qing ah. 2 years ago, she and Su Luo had a life and death battle right here. But at that time, Su Qing was forced into a desperate situation by Su Luo. Then afterwards, she was saved by someone and taken away. 2 years ago, she couldn't beat Su Luo ah. That's right. But now, 2 years has passed, and Su Qing became really strong. The champion of the list outside of the roaming dragon list. No matter what, she must have the strength of a 9th rank. Oh heavens! This is too outrageous. Now Su Luo is only a 5th rank. The Su Qing from 2 years ago was also 5th rank ah. So, to say she is the absolute top talent. As for that Su Luo, snort, up until now, she is still 5th rank. She is simply an idiot. Su Qing, Su Qing, Su Qing, Su Qing. The spectators under the stage in hissing voices loudly screamed this. They were completely shocked intensely to a stop by Su Qing's being promoted 4 ranks in 2 years. Oh, that's right. At that time, why did Su Qing battle with Su Luo? No matter how you say it, they're still sisters ah. The masses that didn't know the facts asked. I heard it was because Su Luo stole Su Qing's future husband. And that person just so happens to be His Highness Prince Jean? This Su Luo is too hateful ah. Clearly, only Su Qing, this kind of absolute top talent, is worthy of being with His Highness Prince Jean. What does that Su Luo count as ah? That's right ah. This time, I hope the heavens have eyes. Let Su Luo draw Su Qing. Let Su Qing ruthlessly oppress Su Luo. The spirited discussion under the stage became bigger and bigger. It was noisy and chaotic. Sister-in-law, how bad is your character ah? Lan Xian simply could not continue to listen to this. In a ridiculing manner, he winked towards Su Luo. Su Luo unhappily glared at him. Quickly draw the lots. This time, 7 will advance out of 13. Their side simply couldn't all advance. There always would be people that lost. Don't know who would be out of luck. Chapter 1442, Su Qing 1000. Lan Xian broke into a run to go and draw lots. Lan Xian's luck could be considered extremely bad. He actually drew the lot to fight Li family's new young master Liaochen. The corner of Liaochen's mouth hooked up provocatively as he coldly smiled. A thread of anger flashed through Lan Xian's eyes. He was looked down just like this. Su Luo comforted him. In fact, you're not bad ah. At least you didn't draw Nangong Luyuan or Luo Haoming. You didn't even draw your own brother. You ought to be rejoicing instead. Lan Xian sullenly ran away. Next was Beichening, smugly running over to draw lots. Beichening continued with Lan Xian's luck. The person he drew was the very popular Mo Xiaoxuan. Mo Xiaoxuan was 9th rank ah. Beichening, with a sullen face, dispiritedly walked away. The next person was An Ye Ming. Su Luo secretly prayed for An Ye Ming to draw a good lot. Otherwise, there wouldn't be many people left on their side. An Ye Ming's luck was worse than Lan Xian and Beichen Ying's combined, simply bad to the extreme. Luo Haoming, An Ye Ming looked at the lot in his hand. The him who was well known for his self-control and maintaining his calm had veins protruding on his forehead. Su Luo speechlessly looked to the sky and could only comfort by saying, "Fortunately, you didn't draw your own biological brother. Things like internal strife, that's what's called real oppressive." An Yiming looked at the remaining lots, then looked at Su Luo and said to her, "This battle should be the one you wished for." Su Luo's wish right now was to have an all-out battle with Su Qing. In the wake of people drawing lots one by one, now there weren't that many lots left inside. Ziyan held a lot, unhurriedly walking over. Su Luo saw her face was tangled and became somewhat nervous. "You didn't draw us too, right?" Ziyan, with a very much tangled expression, looked at Su Luo, looking at her until Su Luo, in one move, snatched away the lot in her hand. "Huh? What are you anxious for?" After Su Luo saw that lot, Ziyan started to laugh. Su Luo slapped her back. "Oh good. Even you dare to tease me. Go play on the side." Ziyan drew the lot for the always hidden Ouyang Mingri. Ouyang Mingri was from the direct line of Western Jin royal family. Based on the information obtained, it didn't say he was very strong, but he entered the top 13 strongest unimpeded. It could be assumed he was not a simple character. Drawing Ouyang Mingri is already pretty good. Ziyan expressed her satisfaction with this result. Now, only 4 numbers remain. It's clearly you, third senior brother, Su Qing and Anya Xian. The most tangled situation would be if you draw third senior brother. Then Ziyan grabbed her hair. She didn't even know how to continue speaking about this. Not to mention, this kind of possibility was extremely great. Su Luo also thought of this problem, but now she was powerless, because the pitiful Su Luo didn't even have the qualification to draw lots. Even drawing lots, she had to draw the one left by everyone else. Rest assured, like the luck I'm accustomed to. How could that kind of thing happen? Su Luo's smile was quiet and content, with neither a ripple nor alarm. "I believe in your luck." Ziyan smiled, but her eyes still were somewhat anxious. While talking, Anya Xian had already walked over to draw lots. He smilingly nodded to Su Luo. Then he stood firmly in front of the box with the lots. Now, everyone's gaze was all concentrated on Anya Xian's slender finger. At this moment, his hand held a red lot. On it was marked with a number. 1 empty place lot, 12 numbers. Now, Anya Xian's hand held the number 5. If someone got the number 7, then that person would be Anya Xian's opponent. Following, there were still 3 people who would get the number 7. Chapter 1443, Su Qing, 2. Now, everyone's gaze was on that draw lot box. In it, there was still 3 lots, and only 3 people remained. A lot of people liked to rejoice in other people's misfortune and hoped Su Luo and Nangong Luyun would draw each other. This way, no matter what, Su Luo would step down from the stage. Although Su Qing's face was still as icily arrogant as before, a trace of anxiousness still flitted through her eyes. Maybe if she risked it all, she could compete with Anya Xian, but if her luck was bad and she drew Nangong Luyun, then she could only choose to forfeit by withdrawing from the competition. She was not afraid of losing. When she entered the roaming dragon list competition, she didn't come with the extravagant hope of getting number 1. She just wanted to fight with Su Luo on this battle stage. That year, it was just in this place, under thousands of staring eyes, that she was pressed until there was no way out. She was in despair to the point of collapse, and also because of this, the matter became the greatest blot in her heart. She used the offering a sacrifice method in exchange for the fastest cultivation method, just for this desire that someday she would stand in this place and kill Su Luo with her own hands. Personally kill her. Therefore, no matter what, she must battle with Su Luo. If they don't battle now, there was less of a chance in the following rounds. Thinking up to here, a ruthless and strict expression flashed through Su Qing's eyes. She took a large step forward and loudly said, "I'll draw," because if Nangong Luyun draw first, she was afraid Nangong Luyun would rig it. After all, His Highness Prince Jin's methods were very formidable. Nangong Luyun, with a ghost of a smile, raised an eyebrow. Without the least bit of objection, he let her have the opportunity to draw first. Su Qing took large steps forward, and her slender as jade hand reached into the box to draw a lot. There were 3 lots in the box, but she only wanted one specific lot. Every one of the lots had had a restriction placed on it by Grandmaster Rong Yun. No one was able to use their senses to know the number on the lot. The only way was to draw it out and have a look. Su Qing hesitated for quite a while and still wasn't certain. In the end, she bit her teeth and directly drew one out. The lot with number 1. Su Qing got the lot with number 1 on it. Then now, the 2 lots in the box clearly were number 11 and number 7. The remaining 2 people were Nangong Luyun and Su Luo. That was to say, no matter what, Nangong Luyun would not be matched against Su Luo. Seeing this situation, Su Luo released somewhat of a breath. If she was really matched against Nangong Luyun, then without demur, she would certainly leave immediately. Quickly draw. Su Luo unhappily urged Nangong Luyun. Which lot do you want? Nangong Luyun raised an eyebrow toward Su Luo. Number 11. Su Luo smilingly said. Everyone could hear the 2 people joking. As you wish. Nangong Luyun's hand reached in. When it came out, it held a lot. But just at this moment, Nangong Luyun's hand suddenly applied a force. One could only hear a bang sound, and that lot turned into powder. His Highness Prince Jean, the host cried out in alarm. Why did you destroy the lot? Now, how can the competition go on? Isn't there still another lot? Nangong Luyun calmly picked out the last lot in the box and tossed it into Su Luo's chest. His Highness is really smart. In fact, look at this lot, and you can tell what number was the lot that was destroyed. Just now really scared me. His Highness Prince Jean really can play a hair-raising game. Don't know what the number is on the lot in Su Luo's arms. But no matter what, this time, she will definitely get sent down the stage. Under the stage, bursts of discussion sounded. In fact, the moment Nangong Luyun destroyed that lot in his hand, Su Luo then realized that someone had rigged the box. Chapter 1444, Su Qing 3. Now, the lot in Su Luo's hand was already known by people. Number 11. Su Luo drew number 11. Then His Highness Prince Jean definitely drew number 7. A lot of people yelled this, but nobody noticed the beads of sweat rolling down from the host's forehead, as well as Nangong Luyun's chilly gaze that swept past his face. In fact, the 2 lots in the box were both number 11, so as to say, no matter which one Nangong Luyun drew, he would have drawn number 11 and would be fighting with Su Qing. Then, Su Luo's opponent would change to Anya Xian. Based on Su Luo's current strength, if she was matched up against Anya Xian, she simply didn't need to fight and would have to directly admit defeat. Only if she was matched to Su Qing would she still have an opportunity to continue. All of these lots were made by Grandmaster Rong Yun, but Nangong Luyun's sharp sense could detect that there was a problem with one of the lots among them. After probing it, he detected this problem. That was why Nangong Luyun would destroy this number 11 lot that had a problem at a critical moment. Like this, the remaining number 11 lot would be proof that Nangong Luyun had picked the number 7 lot. Otherwise, if Nangong Luyun picked number 11, then Su Luo simply did not need to go pick a lot. Because the whole world knew there was only one opponent left for her, and that person was called Anya Xian. In the end, who was plotting against her? Who wanted her to be matched against Anya Xian? Su Luo's eyes swept over everywhere, but her heart was unsure. There were a lot of people that wanted her dead, but people with the ability to do something like this, there weren't many. Compared to Su Luo's conspicuously tangled mood, Su Qing was simply too happy. She arrogantly walked to in front of Su Luo, her sidelong glances containing traces of provocation. Su Luo, you won't get cold feet, right? Cold feet? Su Qing, are you talking about yourself? Although Su Luo was preoccupied, but her gift of gab was based on instincts. Su Qing was angered until her face turned red. She flung her sleeves and gave a heavy snort. Su Luo, just gave you an extra day to live. Finish speaking this sentence. Su Qing then strutted away. After the drawing of lots was finished, the second day, the competition would start. There was a battle every day, and since Su Qing drew number 1, therefore, in the competition of 13 to enter the top 7, it would start off with their battle. When Su Qing walked off the battle stage, she lifted her eyes and saw a middle-aged man standing before her. His face had a dusting of frost. Right now, he was so moved that he could hardly control himself. Qing, is it really you? Su Zian was so moved that his eye sockets were slightly red. His treasured daughter, Su Qing, returning, covered from head to toe in glory. This made Su Zian, who had suffered a lot of anger under Su Luo, moved to the utmost. Su Zian's lips trembled from being so moved. Qing, these several years, why didn't you return home? A lot of misfortune happened at home. What happened at home? Su Qing's expression changed slightly. She had been wholeheartedly immersed in cultivation and her hatred towards Su Luo, so she didn't make any inquiries about matters at home. She had all along thought that people at home would be very good. Your mother and elder brother was harmed by Su Luo until they are paralyzed. It's been dragging on for 2 years. Looks like they won't last much longer. Quickly follow Daddy home to see them. Su Zian pulled Su Qing along, and without saying anything more, he turned and walked away. Su Qing was worried about her family's comfort and followed Su Zian to leave with large strides. Watching their back view full of strength, Su Luo's eyebrows gradually wrinkled. Didn't you draw the lot you wanted? What's still not happy? Nangong Lian spoilingly pinched Su Luo's nose, smiling from ear to ear. Chapter 1445, Su Qing 4. Fortunately, I had you. Su Luo couldn't help but be glad. If Nangong Lian hadn't moved to intervene, she could only passively battle with Anya Xin. Swearing on one's heart, Su Luo was certain she wouldn't win against that person. I've said it before, we'll ensure you enter the top 2. He wouldn't hesitate to use any method, and Nangong Lian's smile was deeply enigmatic. Now, they had entered the finals of the competition, so there weren't as many fighting stages as before. If it was like that, then the battles would be over in one day. What's the fun in that? Now, at this stage, it's the advancement of one gifted person per battle at every interval. Very unfortunately, Su Luo draw the lot with number 1. According to the rules, after 10 days, Su Luo and Su Qing would begin the battle for top 7. Su Zian brought Su Qing back to Su Manor. When she saw the Madame Su and Su Jingyu laying on the bed, her heart was enraged to the extreme. Moreover, at this time, Su Zian added oil to the fire nonstop. At that time, it was because of Su Luo that your mother and elder brother were both calculated by the Jade Lakesley family. But now, clearly, just one drop of blood from Su Luo would save them. It could be said that Su Luo is heartless. Daddy discarded his self-respect to go beseech her, but couldn't even enter her doors. She even had me tossed out the gates. Su Zian changed his manner of being full of dignity in front of this daughter. He started using the cards of being grief-stricken and their family affection. Su Qing ate up this behavior of his. After she heard Su Zian's words, the anger in her heart became a wildfire that burned madly. Daddy, rest assured, daughter will certainly bring Su Luo's head to avenge mother and elder brother, Su Qing said, with a face full of determination and seriousness. This was too severe. Su Zian thought this was too much and said, still better not to kill her. Now Su Luo's backing is pretty stiff. If you really killed her on the fighting stage, not to mention His Highness Prince Jean, just Grandmaster Rongyun's side alone, you won't survive. On the fighting stage, fate determines life or death. This is the rule. No matter how awesome Grandmaster Rongyun is, he also cannot violate it. Su Qing's tone had a hard-to-cover-up arrogance, let alone to say, my master's strength is not necessarily weaker than Grandmaster Rongyun. At that time, whose backing is more firm, isn't for certain. Once Su Qing said this, immediately, Su Zian's heart became excited. Su Qing's master was equally matched to Grandmaster Rongyun. Then, how strong was this master? Who is your master? It was a grizzly-haired old man that asked this question. "Elder Father, you came out?" Su Zian saw Elder Su come out and hurriedly went up to greet him. Elder Su waved Su Zian aside, his gaze staring directly at Su Qing. "In the end, who is your master?" Grandfather Su Qing was somewhat astonished. Looked at this grandfather she hadn't seen for a long time. At that time, when grandfather went into closed-door cultivation, she was only 7 or 8 years old. Didn't expect that in the blink of an eye, it's already 10 years later. Your master in the end? Who is he? Elder Su was very focused on this matter. Su Qing's eyes hung down slightly and did not speak. Can't say it? Su Zian, seeing Su Qing was finding things difficult, then took a glance at Elder Su. Su Qing seemed to find this matter difficult to deal with. Don't know why Elder Su would be so forceful. Su Qing lifted up her eyes and nodded. Master had said before that I can't tell anyone of her origins. However, Master's strength is really amazing. This is for sure. Elder Su's expression was somewhat complicated. Able to promote from the 4th rank to now within 2 years. How capable a person must she be? If this very capable person could be Su Manor's support, then Su Manor would rise to the heavens in a day. Su Manor could also strive for a place among the 10 powerful families in the world. Chapter 1446, Su Qing, 5. The 10 most powerful families were not unchangeable. Take Northern Mo as an example. 100 years ago, their royal family offended Gue Ci, so the entire family was wiped out. In the end, it was replaced by Xinyuan family. Originally, Elder Su's ambitions weren't that big, but when he saw Su Luo's achievement and then saw Su Qing's achievement, he felt Su Manor also had the strength to vie for this. But if they were to vie for this, they must have an exceptionally strong expert that would stand out and support them. This was the reason why Elder Su would be so dedicated to bringing back Su Luo to be recognized. Seeing he was unable to get Su Luo to come back, so he placed this idea on the strong expert behind Su Qing. But Su Qing was determined not to say who the big character behind her was, and Elder Su had no way to force her to say it. In fact, speaking of this, Elder Su really suffered bitterness. He painstakingly went into closed-door cultivation for 10 years with great difficulty. He broke through 2 ranks. He originally thought that when he came out, he would be invincible. The result was, fuck. Even the little girl doll at that time that had just learned to hold a sword was more amazing than him. His strong mental confidence dropped. It would be a wonder if he felt comfortable about it. In front was a Su Luo he could accept with difficulty. Now came another Su Qing. Elder Su really felt that he was shocked half to death. Enough, you don't want to say, then don't say it. But you must promise grandfather that you must properly teach that Su Luo a lesson. Elder Su once again recalled the blood in Su Luo's body, then repeatedly advised, you know to injury Su Luo. How could you be afraid of not getting her blood? Killing her, there would be more blood. Su Qing secretly added this in her heart. Compared to Elder Su, Su Zian was really happy. Not long before, he was embarrassed by Su Luo, but the heavens were just this good to him, immediately delivering a 9th-ranked daughter to him. 9th rank, if this was placed anywhere 2 years ago, even if you killed him, he wouldn't believe it. But now, this fact was arranged in front of his eyes. Qing, Daddy believes you will definitely win. Su Zian's eyes had a trace of hard-to-conceal smugness. Daddy, rest assured, all the wrong and humiliation you guys received, Qing will get it back in one lump sum. Su Qing nodded seriously. Afterwards, Su Qing stayed to live in Su Manor. Before, during her and Su Luo's life and death battle, she was seriously injured. However, after being rescued by Master, her injury was gradually cured. So, the current Su Qing was like before, with no trace of having been injured. These 10 days, Su Qing maintained a meditative state. Su Luo also didn't relax on her cultivation. She locked herself in her room and didn't step foot outside of the door. With other people, it was 10 days, but Su Luo had a full 100 days of time. Originally, She had cultivated out a flame panther. After these days of effort, Su Luo already could continuously produce 4 flame panthers. Moreover, Su Luo's strength at the peak of 8 rank advanced forward a bit. She only needed an opportunity and would be able to easily break through to the 9th rank. Su Luo's promotion was true and from fighting. As for Su Qing, don't know if it was based on heaps of spirit medicine or the manner of offering a sacrifice. This no one was clear about. The day of the decisive battle between Su Luo and Su Qing finally arrived. Su Luo and Nangong Liyun walked one in front and the other in back, under the escort of Beichen Ying's group, towards the battle stage. Sister-in-law, last time, you let Su Qing escape. This time, you must kill her on the spot. Beichen Ying exhorted repeatedly, so much so that Su Luo got a headache listening to him. You didn't bet that she would die, right? Su Luo calmly asked. Along with the competition nearing the later stages, people's bet became greater and greater. These days, Su Luo's crystal stones had once again multiplied by more than tenfold. Chapter 1447, Su Qing 6. Beichen Ying scratched his head. I took all of my crystal stones and bet that Su Qing would die. Sister-in-law, therefore, you must work hard. There's also me, Anya Ming said faintly. Not only me, there is also my older brother that had bet everything on this. In any case, his older brother was going to battle Nangong. He'd lose with no possibility of winning. Moreover, both were people he cared about. No matter who he bet on to win, it wouldn't be good. So, he may as well fetch everything in his older brother's wallet and use it all to bet on Su Qing dying. You two guys, the corner of Su Luo's mouth twitched. Looking from this position, if she didn't kill Su Qing, then the loss would be extremely huge. There's also me. Ziyan also stood out silently. I also made the bet. Lan Xian smiled ingratiatingly as he gathered closer. You several guys. Su Luo speechlessly looked at Nangong Liyun. Nangong Liyun smilingly pinched her nose. I also bet on this. Therefore, you're only allowed to win, not allowed to lose, you know, right? You guys are just as confident in me. Su Luo herself wasn't as confident about this. In any case, evil cannot be straightened. That's the unalterable truth. Beichen Ying was selected as the representative and stood out to say this. Fine. Su Luo reluctantly accepted this recommendation. Just at this moment, Su Qing directly walked over. Su Qing looked at Su Luo full of provocation. Her chin was hoisted up high. Su Luo, properly bid farewell to your good friends. In the future, you won't ever have an opportunity. The implication being that she was here to take Su Luo's head. Su Luo smiled faintly, sweeping a glance at Su Qing. Her gaze then swept past Su Qing to Su Ziyan, who was behind and looking immensely proud. Su Luo shook her head. The pitiful great General Su. This daughter had just returned, and you're going to experience the pain of mourning a daughter once again. So pitiful. Su Ziyan's original, immensely proud expression suddenly stiffened. He very fiercely glared at Su Luo. Su Manor doesn't only have you who is amazing. You shouldn't be too excessively proud of yourself. Su Luo's eyes flashed. Even Nangong Liyun undertook the task to inquire about Su Qing's backer and couldn't find anything. But to start from Su Ziyan, it could be a place to break through and get the information. As a result, Su Luo arrogantly sneered. My master is Grandmaster Rong Yun. How could her master be considered worth a fart? Why can't I be proud? Su Ziyan was especially bad at keeping his cool. He immediately sneered to say, admittedly, Grandmaster Rong Yun is amazing, but in this world, the exceptionally strong experts is not only him alone. Su Qing's master is no worse in strength than Grandmaster Rong Yun. Put away your proudness. Dad, Su Qing hinted that Su Ziyan shouldn't say anymore. She tauntingly swept Su Luo a glance. Then, with a flip, she got on the fighting stage. Su Luo and Nangong Liyun exchanged a glance. Although Su Ziyan did not divulge a lot of information, however, it was very critical. Because in this world, people on equal terms with Grandmaster Rong Yun were very few. Who could it be? Su Luo asked in a low tone. She was really curious, at that time, why that person would pick Su Qing and carry her away from the fighting stage. Was it because of Su Qing, or because Su Qing's enemy was her, so that person would take Su Qing away? This point made Su Luo have deep misgivings and puzzled her endlessly. After today's matter is finished, I need to go find my master and carefully ask him. Su Luo always felt that Su Qing's disappearance at that time was very strange. And now, her strength flew up so suddenly to this degree, it was also very strange. Restraining the curiosity in her heart, Su Luo unhurriedly walked step by step to the center of the battle stage. Su Luo, the last time's life and death battle stopped unexpectedly now. It's time to conclude it. Su Qing stood there arrogantly, her face cold and ruthless. Su Luo tauntingly laughed. You actually have the face to say these words? Su Qing didn't get angry at Su Luo's words. Without saying anything more, she condensed all the spirit force in her body and suddenly launched an attack towards Su Luo. Chapter 1448, The Final Decisive Battle. 1. Su Qing struck first to gain the advantage. Without saying a word, she directly attacked after getting on the stage. Fortunately, Su Luo already was guarded against this in her heart. In the wake of Su Qing's attack, Su Luo's finger flew to make a complicated hand seal. At this moment, slices of ice knives shot towards Su Luo's throat and between her eyes. Raging sea of fireworks. Su Luo shouted in a low voice. From the ground, four fire serpents rushed out like a flood, whirling into a circle, blocking those densely packed ice knives. After Su Luo blocked this attack, suddenly, everyone under the stage sat up and took notice. Originally thought facing a 9th-ranked expert, Su Luo would wilt after one move. Didn't expect she was able to block it. It's the first move, who knows? Maybe Su Qing didn't exert herself. Now, everything is hard to say, Everyone still maintained their doubtful attitude towards Su Luo's strength. But there were some that frowned slightly, because just at the moment Su Luo released her move, the fluctuations in spirit force she caused clearly was not an insignificant 5th rank could put to use. Therefore, Su Luo certainly was not 5th rank, very possibly she was above 8th rank. On the stage, Su Qing's complexion became slightly frosty. Didn't expect you could block 30% of my strength. Su Luo, I actually underestimated you. Finished speaking, a twisted and sinister smile flashed through Su Qing's eyes. Su Luo smiled faintly. Even if you used all your strength, so what? Good. You're courting death. Cannot blame me. A poisonous light flashed in Su Qing's eyes. One could only see her hands move like the cloud. Suddenly, within a 10-meter range around Su Luo's body, a circle appeared. It was a cage made from ice and snow, about 10 square meters in size. Just like this, Su Luo was trapped in this cage made from ice and snow. Moreover, this ice and snow cage wasn't a motionless one. It was rotating nonstop, spinning and spinning until people's eyes became dizzy. Inside this cage, Su Luo's figure seemed to be extremely not good. Inside the ice and snow cage, the temperature, in an instant, dropped to the lowest. Su Luo continuously released her fire element. But, after all, Su Qing was 9th rank, the strength difference of even 1 rank was huge. Although Su Luo did her utmost to block, her fire element flowing out in endless stream. But in comparison, she was still repressed by Su Qing. Seeing that the temperature was getting lower and lower, Su Luo's heart had a bad premonition. The corner of Su Qing's mouth hooked into a bloodthirsty cold smile. Su Luo, you just go to hell. 2 years before, Su Luo had forced her until she gave up all hope. That kind of humiliation tortured Su Qing for a full 800 nights, every night. In the dark palace, it was just this hatred that supported Su Qing to walk through that inhuman cultivation to improve her strength. If she didn't have this unforgettable hatred, very likely, Su Qing would have fallen earlier from the pain under layers of thorns. Inside the ice and snow cage, Su Luo's brows pursed tightly. The disparity between the ranks was even greater than she had imagined, making her somewhat at a loss as to what to do. The temperature of the ice and snow cage continuously went down. Su Luo's face and hands were covered in a thin layer of frost. Su Luo knew that in the wake of time passing, if she still were unable to get out of the ice and snow cage, she would freeze to death here. Haha, Su Luo, I suffered untold hardship and used all my effort to cultivate to the 9th rank to come find you for revenge. Your strength is weaker than an ant's. I really look down upon you. Su Qing's attitude was arrogant and brash, her laughter mocking and derisive. Su Luo's people, hearing this, wished they could rush up and slap her several times. Ziyin couldn't sit still, so angry that she nearly jumped up. This Su Qing is too excessively rude. Nangong Luoyun reclined on the back of the chair. His expression seemed careless, but the finger that continuously tapped on the armrest revealed his mood slightly. Chapter 1449. The Final Decisive Battle 2. Countless pairs of eyes stared fixedly at Su Luo. Now, the Su Luo in the cage resisted nonstop the encroaching ice and snow. Fire element battered it in waves. Very quickly, the spirit force in Su Luo's body faded away until nothing was left. But what Su Luo had most of was spirit restoration pill. So she grabbed a handful of spirit restoration pills and tossed it into her mouth. Then, another wave of fire element battered out to intertwine with Su Qing's ice and snow cage. To continue like this is not a method. Bei Qining nervously stood up. His gaze was fixed on the stage, afraid of missing a bit of news. But now, Nangong Luoyun's lips suddenly hooked up. Keep calm, don't get excited. Second brother? Don't tell me you are not worried? That's Luo, not someone else. Bei Qining silently criticized in his heart. Don't need to be worried. A trace of having a weight off his mind flashed through his eyes. You just sit down and watch the play properly. Oh! Seeing Nangong Luoyun so calm, Bei Qining was able to suppress his fretful mood. He quietly sat down. On the stage, just like Nangong Luoyun had said, Su Luo's situation had already started to improve. Because of the process of waves of spirit force being released until it got completely depleted, then rapidly being replenished, Su Luo found that her strength had advanced a bit more. The distance from finally breaking through to the 9th rank was almost within reach. This was all thanks to Su Qing's ice and snow cage's stimulation. Otherwise, she would have had a challenging section of the road to walk. Quite clearly, Su Qing was also not a fool. She saw Su Luo's expression and immediately sensed the situation inside. Not waiting for Su Luo to attack that last thin layer of membrane to advance a rank, one could only hear a swish sound, and Su Qing's ice and snow cage actually disappeared. Humph, killing you just like this is too cheap. At the same time, Su Qing said this sentence. But Su Luo only sneered as she glanced at her. Su Qing's reaction was considered pretty fast. If she was given another 15 minutes, she would get promoted to 9th rank. A pity. Su Qing's cold and ruthless gaze swept once around Su Luo's body. There was a trace of doubt in her eyes. In fact, from the beginning when they fought hand-to-hand, she could feel that Su Luo's strength actually wasn't weak. She was far from the 5th rank she seemed on the surface. Just now, she had used 90% of her strength, but Su Luo almost succeeded in counterattacking her. This made Su Qing's originally arrogant mood vanish in an instant. Ice Panther, go! In the time it took Su Qing to wave her hand, 2 fierce ice panthers, in a flash, pounced towards Su Luo's body. Ice panthers? The corner of Su Luo's mouth hooked into a cold smile. Don't know if Master had a fortune-telling ability, since earlier he had given her a book called Exploding Flame Technique. Now it just so happened to be useful in restraining Su Qing's Ice Panther, right? Flame Panther! Su Luo's face condensed into frost. In the time it took her to lift a hand, 2 raging flame panthers were ignited and released. The 2 flame panthers rushed towards the ice panther in a flash. and started to fiercely battle into a ball. How could it be like this? Su Qing's expression changed slightly, her suspicious gaze sweeping towards Su Luo. Now, all the people under the stage became impassioned. Flame Panther? How could it be a Flame Panther? On the honored guest seats, a lot of people's expressions were complicated and abstruse. Only a 9th rank could learn the exploding flame technique. So, the 9th rank Su Qing could of course form the Ice Panther. But Su Luo, how could she condense out Flame Panthers? Even if she wasn't 5th rank, she absolutely could not have reached 9th rank. Su Luo's display smashed these people's existing knowledge. Therefore, everyone's gaze condensed into frost and looked at Su Luo with a complicated expression. Now, the shock in their hearts could not be described with words. Chapter 1450, The Final Decisive Battle 3. So, it turned out Su Luo isn't an idiot. So, it turned out she isn't 5th rank. So, it turned out before it wasn't dirty tricks. Su Luo really does have the strength. Could it be that everyone has been falsely accusing her? Could it be that she had all along been disguising as a pig when she's a tiger? Under the stage, everyone in the audience watched dumbstruck. This matter changed too fast. They couldn't react in time. Evildoer Central Palace's palace master, Mo, repeatedly shook his head. This loathsome girl is a lot stronger than when she came to Central Palace. This has only been how many days? At this moment, a lot of people stood up, staring at this battle, unable to take their eyes off. Because this fight had gone far beyond their expectations. No matter how many cries of astonishment and clamor came from below the stage, Su Luo and Su Qing on the stage had battled to the critical point. 2 Flame Panthers, 2 Ice Panthers. Their strength seemed evenly matched and ended up fighting to a tie. Su Qing's brows were wrinkled tightly. Su Luo clearly hadn't reached the 9th rank. First, forget the fact that she could condense out Flame Panthers. Now, her Flame Panther could actually withstand the attacks from her Ice Panther. Didn't this mean her strength was at the same level as hers? Su Qing could not accept this fact. Ice Panther, accelerate! Su Qing bellowed in a low tone. Immediately after, an ice and snow virtual shadow appeared behind her body. Su Luo, able to force me to reveal this ice and snow virtual shadow finishing blow, you could be considered to be pretty good. Su Qing coldly humped several times. When Su Qing added this ice and snow virtual shadow move on to the Ice Panther's body, howl, the 2 huge Ice Panthers suddenly bellowed out loud. In an instant, their body size doubled, their attack power also increasing by many folds. Their body was snow white, giving off a deeply cold air. The ground under their paws had also formed into a very thick layer of ice. Howl! The 2 Ice Panthers roared and opened their ferocious mouths wide and shot towards the 2 Flame Panthers. Although the Flame Panther's body were smaller by half, they didn't want to be outdone as they ferociously rushed towards the opponent. A PFFF sound echoed. The forehead of Su Luo's Flame Panther was smashed until it cracked open. The other one's ending was also very tragic. Haha, Su Luo. Today, you will certainly die. Su Qing, seeing victory was in sight, egotistically laughed out loud. Su Luo is about to lose. Although Su Luo hid her strength in the end, she still could not win against Su Qing. A pity, such a heaven-defying talent is actually about to die. Countless number of voices intertwined together. All of them sighed in pity for Su Luo. The hand at Nangong Liuyun's side was clenched tightly into fists. Suddenly, his brows relaxed slightly. Once again, he sat back down on his chair. A smile full of interest appeared on his face. Just at this moment, an intense spirit fluctuation exploded out from Su Luo's body. Momentarily, with Su Luo as the center, the spirit force was chaotic for a period. Oh heavens! What happened to Su Luo? It seems that she is about to advance in rank. This is impossible. When Su Luo advanced to the 9th rank, she had already put away the jade pendant. She clearly and openly displayed her strength. The Su Luo at this moment had her long, black silk-like hair that reached her ankles fluttering in a carefree manner in the wind. Her unparalleled, beautiful face that could overturn the world was grim and decisive. The strength and drive she gave off made people not dare to look straight at her. 9th rank Su Luo. How is this possible? How could she possibly directly advance from 5th rank to 9th rank? This is too insane, right? Could it be before Su Luo was hiding her strength all along? In fact, her strength had always been very strong. A lot of questions wrapped around everyone's head. All of their faces had expressions of being indefinitely bewildered. Among these people, the most depressed would have to be Su Qing. Chapter 1451. The final decisive battle. For Su Qing completely didn't expect that Su Luo would break through at such a critical moment. This simply made her hate until her heart was in sharp pain. What a strong spirit force fluctuation. Oh heavens, you guys look at those two flame panthers. Don't know which sharp-eyed person cried out loud. Momentarily, everyone's gaze was all focused on the flame panthers' bodies. At this moment, the two flame panthers' bodies once again took shape. Compared to before, a huge change happened to these two flame panthers. The original orange flame on their bodies now burned with a dark gold flame. It was close to a dark red, so red that it was close to being purple. Seeing these two flame panthers, Su Qing's ice panther subconsciously retreated back. Because relying on intuition, they could feel the intense and powerful pressure given off by the flame panthers up ahead. Their hearts felt fear. Go up! Fight! Su Qing loudly roared. But the two ice panthers continued to retreat, not daring to go up. Su Qing was infuriated until the veins on her forehead stuck out. She extended a hand and suddenly, a black-colored whip appeared in her hand. Go! Without the slightest hesitation, Su Qing whipped towards the panther. The two ice panthers felt Su Qing's strong fighting intent. Although their hearts were timid, they had no choice but to rush up and start tearing at the opponent. The corner of Su Luo's mouth curved into a cruel, grim smile. Couldn't see how she moved. When everyone saw two flame panthers suddenly appeared behind the two ice panthers. For panthers, Su Luo actually could condense out 4 flame panthers. Everyone stared in awe, because according to a regular person's understanding, beginner 9th rank could only condense out 2 flame panthers. A middle 9th rank could condense out 4. Only a person at the summit of 9th rank could condense out 6. Now, even Su Qing couldn't condense out 4 ice panthers, but Su Luo was able to do this so easily. What did this prove? This proved that Su Luo's strength was already ahead above Su Qing. From a competitor that everyone looked down as having used dirty tricks to come to the stage of having the strength to press down on Su Qing, Su Luo's change was simply too great, to the extent that a lot of people, even now, hadn't reacted. On the stage, the 4 flame panthers encircled the 2 ice panthers, hemming them in. The ice panthers were already being pressed down now. It was a 2-against-1 disadvantage. How could they possibly win? A whoop among their anguished wailing. They were completely swallowed up by the flame panthers until nothing was left. On the battle stage, Su Luo stood facing the wind. The wind blew up her long black hair. That unparalleled beautiful face, momentarily, was beyond magnificent. Su Luo smiled faintly. Her smile was more dazzlingly than blooming flowers. Su Qing, what do you think? Su Luo. Su Qing crushed the whip in her hand into powder. Just now, the 2 ice panthers were swallowed. It hugely affected her strength, because the ice panthers were condensed from her spirit force. Su Qing, you are wounded, moreover, it's not light. Su Luo's smile was soft like a cloud and gentle like the wind. But in Su Qing's eyes, it was naked mockery. Su Luo, today if I don't kill you, I, Su Qing, will commit suicide on this stage. Su Qing's expression was sinister as she made this poisonous vow. Her words barely finished when she stuffed a snow-white pill into her mouth. Afterwards, her figure shot towards Su Luo explosively. Su Qing's attack was a lot stronger than Su Luo had imagined. It was because of that snow-white pill. Although she didn't know what that pill was, but after Su Qing swallowed it, it seemed as if her strength had been upgraded to the highest state of this rank. This made Su Luo's heart be on guard. Sure enough, when Su Luo covered herself with nothingness of space, Su Qing's attack had smashed over. Momentarily, above Su Luo's head, fiery meteorite rain started to fall from the sky. Fiery meteorite rain? Below the stage, several masters from the most influential families all stood up. Chapter 1452, The Final Decisive Battle 5. Only by fusing the fire element and the ice element could one fully use this technique. How could Su Qing do this? Wasn't she only an ice mage? Why was she able to fully use an attack that fused the fire and ice element? As a result, everyone stared at Su Qing in disbelief. At the same time, they all very sympathetically looked at Su Luo. Because after fusing the element, the person's strength would be a lot more powerful than before. Therefore, although Su Luo had advanced to the 9th rank, but she had no way to beat Su Qing. The fusion of the elements within the same rank was an unequaled existence. A pity that Su Luo everyone all sighed in their hearts. Fiery meteorite rain floated down densely. It looked like snowflakes fluttering about, but some had a fiery red color in the middle of the white-colored raindrops. It contained an enormous attack power. Su Luo, go die. Su Qing roared this out, then condensed all the spirit force and pressed down towards Su Luo. Momentarily, the entire fighting stage was covered with fiery meteorite rain from all directions. Even if Su Luo wanted to escape, she wouldn't be able to. At this moment, Su Zian, who was in the audience, was extremely excited. Su Luo was about to die. This loathsome girl that was disobedient to him, the parent, and brought him countless humiliations, finally was about to die. If he wasn't in such a public place, Su Zian would definitely howl with laughter. But at this time, Su Luo still stood steadily in place. Her gaze swept by the ecstatic Su Zian, in the end landing on Su Qing's face. Her eyes glittered with a mocking flavor. Su Qing, do you really think you can win? Killing you is as easy as pie. Su Qing laughed out loud. This was her trump card. At that time, when she was leaving, she wheedled and pestered her master and got this trump card. It was specifically used to kill Su Luo. Really? Then just wait and see. Su Luo smiled. Soon after, her wide sleeve swayed. Just when the fiery meteorite rain was about to land on Su Luo's body, suddenly, those fiery meteorite rain seemed to be blocked by a protective covering. No matter what, it couldn't land on Su Luo's head. Within a range of 10 meters around Su Luo, not a drop of fiery meteorite rain could be found. Su Qing was immediately greatly alarmed. Everyone was staring at Su Luo in disbelief. What happened? Su Luo was able to completely block out the fiery meteorite rain? When it's all said and done, just what trick was this? Su Qing gave a strong hiss and loudly shrieked. I order you to smash. Smash! Su Qing controlled the fiery meteorite rain and sent it flying towards Su Luo. However, within a 10-meter range around Su Luo's body, it was like a space isolated from the rest of the world, protecting Su Luo within it. All kinds of attacks were completely useless. I don't believe it. Seeing this kind of situation, Su Qing's entire person almost went insane. Su Luo coldly smiled. So only you are allowed to have trump card? Rather looking down at people too much. This is impossible, Su Qing shouted. Watching as fiery meteorite rain wasn't of any use against Su Luo, Su Qing seemed to have lost all her rationality. She crazily threw herself towards Su Luo, like a shrew, bold and fierce. The corner of Su Luo's mouth exposed a taunting sneer. Su Qing, this is you courting death on your own? Cannot blame me. Getting close. 20 meters, 10 meters, 5 meters. when Su Qing impulsively rushed into Su Luo's nothingness of space. The corner of Su Luo's mouth hooked into a Satan-like, strange smile. Soon after, Su Luo's mind moved and called in a low tone, "Reduce the rate by half." Within nothingness of space, the pressure on Su Qing's body suddenly increased by a fold. When the pressure on her body suddenly increased, Su Qing came to her senses in a flash. She realized matters were far from good. Something was strange within the 10-meter range of Su Luo's body. But this discovery, with regards to Su Qing, was way too late. Chapter 1453, The Final Decisive Battle 6. No one knew Su Luo actually had such a nature-defying weapon as nothingness of space. Also, no one knew that Su Luo was the master within her nothingness of space. If she wanted to decrease other people's speed, then their speed would decrease. When Su Luo suppressed Su Qing's speed, Su Qing was trapped in an absolute passive state. The fusing of elements will make you unrivaled within the same rank, right? Su Luo coldly and ruthlessly laughed. Then let me see how you can be unrivaled within the same rank. Before her voice had faded, Su Luo's attack arrived. 6 huge flame panthers galloped out from the sky, full of fiery meteorite rain. They dyed half of the sky, like the savage bloody sun's rays shining on Su Qing's face, making it scarlet. Su Qing could clearly sense the approach of the Grim Reaper. No, I can't die. Su Qing repeatedly retreated back. Just at this moment, she suddenly came back to her senses. There was something odd within the 10-meter range of Su Luo's body. Then, as long as she left here, there wouldn't be a problem, right? Want to run? Not going to be that easy. Su Luo detected that Su Qing wanted to escape her nothingness of space, and she immediately pursued. At the same time, she launched her attack. Su Qing's heart felt suffocated half to death. Originally, it was she who pursued and attacked Su Luo. Originally, it was she who wanted to kill Su Luo. But now, it had been reversed to her being the one Su Luo was chasing to kill. This made her nearly choke to death from the mouthful of air stifled in her throat. Su Qing, didn't you want to kill me? Why are you running? Su Luo's taunting voice arrived nonstop. Su Luo knew that this time, she absolutely couldn't let Su Qing escape. Because she already saw her nothingness of space. If Su Qing didn't die, then she would certainly spread this news out. Su Luo didn't want to let side issues keep arising. The fists at Su Qing's side were clenched tightly, her fingernails ruthlessly digging into her flesh. Seeing the flame panthers about to smash towards Su Qing's head at this critical moment, one could only hear a swoosh sound. Su Qing, in a flash, disappeared from Su Luo's nothingness of space. What's going on? A huge question mark appeared over Su Luo's head. But when Su Luo saw the crushed stone in Su Qing's hand, suddenly, the anger rose like fire in her heart. It's a teleportation stone again. Teleportation stone is random. No one knows whether the teleported distance was long or short. Last time, Li Yaoyao relied on that teleportation stone to escape a calamity. Was it possible that the current Su Qing could also escape? Don't know whether Su Qing's luck was good or bad. This time's teleportation stone, the place it teleported her to wasn't far. It was actually the edge of the fighting stage. However, without a doubt, Su Qing had already escaped Su Luo's nothingness of space. Just at this moment, Su Qing was faced with a very difficult choice. One was to take advantage that Su Luo hadn't chased over to jump into the crowd and run away. Second was to turn around and attack back and have a death match with Su Luo. The situation was extremely critical. If she made the wrong choice, then it would be her life. At this time, Su Qing's figure was slightly motionless, because she didn't know which road she should walk. Teleportation stone. When Su Qing saw the teleportation stone that she crushed in her hand, a light suddenly flashed through her head. Oh heavens! She finally knew why it would be so strange within the 10-meter range of Su Luo's body. Space. Su Luo most certainly was a space mage. Based on the information she had gathered before, Su Luo could teleport. Added to that, the unusual change around her body. If she didn't guess wrongly, then that was Su Luo's nothingness of space. Thinking up to here, Su Qing's entire body seemed to come alive again. She howled with laughter towards Su Luo. Su Luo, I can't kill you, but there are people under the heavens that can kill you. Because you have too many things on your body that make people jealous. Su Luo's heart suddenly jumped. Could it be that Su Qing had found out? Chapter 1454, Su Qing dies 1. If she was seen through by Su Qing, then this matter would be far from good. At that time, in order to hit her status as a space mage, Master did not hesitate to cut off part of his own space to make space bags and put it on auction in the auction house. If the matter of her being a space mage was spread out, at that time it would cause a lot of trouble. The conditions that Master and those old guys had agreed upon might change because of this matter. After all, like Su Qing said, too many things on Su Luo's body, like her space, was coveted by others. Her blood, her space, her spirit pets, each one of them would make anyone jealous. The most important thing was that if Su Luo's space was exposed at this critical time, then the matter of Su Luo robbing Central Palace would be easily seen through. At that time, Central Palace would attack her en masse. Unless Grandmaster Rong Yun could exterminate everyone in Central Palace, otherwise, Central Palace's people would rush against her in an endless stream. Therefore, because of all the things mentioned above, Su Luo's space absolutely could not be exposed at this time. Before Su Qing could say anything, Su Luo's sleeve shook and a dark gold-colored vine flew towards Su Qing in an instant. Behind Su Qing's back was the edge of the fighting stage, so she couldn't dodge it. Just when she was distracted, the long vine had already formed a cage, firmly confining Su Qing inside the cage. Su Qing rolled around inside, struggling, trying to destroy it. However, after going through 3 transformations, the acacia tree wasn't one that Su Qing could struggle free from. The longer Su Qing struggled, the deeper the acacia tree's confinement became. Don't know when the thorns started to grow on acacia tree's vines. Every one of the sharp thorns was longer and thinner than an embroidery needle. Just like a hedgehog's spikes, all of it entered into Su Qing's flesh. At this moment, the cage formed by the variant red acacia tree was pulled tighter and pressed against Su Qing. Her whole body became a pincushion. Moreover, these weren't ordinary needles. These needles also had highly toxic poison produced by the variant red acacia tree. It was made especially to make a person's nerves feel pain. Therefore, even though Su Qing was 9th rank, she still rolled around on the ground in pain. This plant cage was woven airtight, so everyone could only see Su Qing rolling around in a silk cocoon. However, no one knew that the Su Qing inside was about to go insane from the pain. So painful, so painful. Oh heavens! The tears rolled down Su Qing's eyes. The tears misted over her entire face, but no matter how she wailed, the pain didn't lessen a bit. The variant red acacia tree had signed a master and servant agreement with Su Luo. Thus, Su Luo was able to sense the situation inside through the variant red acacia tree. She could see Su Qing's current painful appearance. Su Qing had made a solemn vow to kill her, and in the end, it was only like this. Su Luo secretly sneered in her heart. At this time, everyone under the stage was confused. What's going on? Why is Su Qing rolling around on the ground? Don't know, but it seems as if Su Qing can't beat Su Luo. Release your fucking fart. Your daddy, bet all my family's fortune on Su Qing to win. If she was to lose, this daddy, will only be able to sleep on a bridge tonight. I also bet all my family's fortune on Su Qing to win. Oh heavens, it can't be that Su Qing is about to lose. Impossible, Su Qing is a 9th-ranked expert. This person was saying it was impossible, but he couldn't even convince himself. Everyone under the stage was apprehensive, nervously looking at Su Luo. the corner of Su Luo's mouth hooked into a faint mocking smile. She instructed the variant red acacia tree to poison Su Qing's mouth, so she became mute, then to release her. If she didn't poison Su Qing, making her mute, Su Luo was afraid that Su Qing would make it known to the public about Su Luo being a space mage. At that time, Su Luo could only continue to flee. Chapter 1455, Su Qing dies too. The variant red acacia tree rarely got a chance to show off, but to be cut off midway, it expressed that it hadn't played enough. However, it still obediently listened to Su Luo, and a long sharp needle entered Su Qing's throat. Afterwards, the variant red acacia tree, in order to vent its dissatisfaction, like a willful little child, it tossed this silk cocoon-like cage up high. Afterwards, in midair, it suddenly took back its long vine. This unforeseen event happened very fast. Everyone was all stupefied. Su Qing was still immersed in her pain, so momentarily, she couldn't return to her senses. Therefore, bang, a loud sound echoed, and Su Qing completely didn't react. Her entire person smashed down in a straight line. That bang sound from just now was the sound of Su Qing's entire person smashing into the ground. Everyone stared blankly. That was Su Qing That was a 9th-ranked expert suddenly smashing to the ground from midair, pounding an indentation into the ground. In the end, what just happened? Everyone used a foolish expression of seeing a ghost to look at Su Luo. At that time, all of them thought that this miss relied on her backer and dirty tricks to advance. Now, she used iron facts to prove that she had advanced based completely on strength and not dirty tricks. Because she easily oppressed the 9th-ranked expert Su Qing. Su Qing, get up, get up! Under the stage, countless voices carried unwillingness, tearing their hearts and splitting their lungs to force Su Qing to get up and fight. These people weren't being kind-hearted. The fact was that they had bet all of their worth on Su Qing. If Su Qing lost, then they would all lose their family's fortune. Among them, this also included Su Zian. After Su Zian was convinced that Su Qing would win, he took all the available funds in Su Manor and bet on Su Qing to win. A lot of betting family shops returned for Su Qing's win wasn't high because everyone knew Su Qing would win. Moreover, she would win steadily. Only one betting family called Luo Luo was mighty and domineering betting shop, not fearing death, had adjusted the compensation for the bet to be 1-to-1. Therefore, nearly half of the capital had run over to this second-rate betting shop to bet Su Qing would win. Moreover, this betting shop was really brave, actually accepted it all without question. Afterwards, when several powerful families found out, they also shipped over boxes after boxes of money to all bet that Su Qing would win. Coming across this kind of fool, who wouldn't want to seize the opportunity to win more. This betting shop's behind-the-scenes leader seemed to really lack any brains, actually accepting it all without question. Other people dared to bet, this shop dared to accept. That boldness was like a tiger that swallowed the whole country. This betting shop also became the laughingstock in the capital in one night. Everyone laughed that the head behind the scenes of this shop must be crazy. But what made all of them despair was, it turned out, the head behind that shop's mind wasn't full of water. The ones whose heads were full of water were all the fools like them. However, it hadn't reached the last minute, so everyone still held on to the last thread of hope. They hoped a miracle would happen on Su Qing's body. Su Qing, get up! Su Qing, continue to fight. Su Qing, could it be you want to lose again? Su Qing, was the humiliation from before not enough? Su Qing, did you forget your goals? A countless number of people's voices sounded at Su Qing's ear. Under the pain, Su Qing's mind became fuzzy and confused. There were only echoes in her head. This made her confused and disoriented. However, in the wake of these clamoring noises, Su Qing finally woke from her confusion. She opened her eyes, and the first thing she saw was Su Luo looking down on her from up high. Su Luo's face had mockery and a ridiculing sneer. Just like that, she stood there up high, looking down at her as if looking at a very insignificant ant. Chapter 1456. Su Qing dies 3. Su Qing, looks like you couldn't say your last words. Su Luo pursed her lips and smiled. Originally, she had wanted Su Qing to leave her last words, but only now did she suddenly remember that she had poisoned Su Qing, so that she was now a mute. She simply could not speak. Really pitiful. Su Qing's heart was full of wrath. She wanted to curse Su Luo in rage, but what made her despair was that she simply could not say a word. The sound she made was coarse and intermittent. She wanted to convey countless words from her heart, but was completely unable to say them. At this moment, Su Qing's heart had an unprecedented panic. Enduring bitter hardship for more than 800 nights. Could it be that she would admit defeat just like this? She was unwilling, really unwilling. Su Qing was so anxious that her eye sockets turned red. Su Luo squatted down in front of Su Qing and carefully scrutinized her. She smilingly said, "At that time, just who was it that saved you? You certainly won't tell me, right?" Su Qing angrily looked at Su Luo. The rage in her eyes were interwoven. She was itching to burn Su Luo until nothing was left. 2 years ago, you lost under my hand. 2 years later, it's still the same result. Su Luo's hand was placed over Su Qing's forehead. Su Qing felt the shadow of death enveloping her body. She wanted to struggle, wanted to resist, but she found that her body seemed to have been injected with an anesthetic. Her body was completely outside of her control. She wanted to move, but couldn't shift an inch. "You know my secret." Su Luo leaned close to her eye. In a low voice, she said this. "That's right. You are not wrong. I am a space mage. Since the beginning, I was a space mage, you guessed correctly." Woo woo woo. Su Qing struggled violently, but Su Luo's hand had already touched her critical pressure point. A thread of pain and despair flashed through Su Qing's eyes. No, she didn't want to die. She was unwilling, really unwilling. What could you possibly be unwilling for? Su Luo increased her strength, pouring it into Su Qing's head. She carelessly said, "You see, I haven't even used the little divine dragon, and you are at the point of dying. You say, what could you possibly take out a fight with me?" Woo! Su Qing shook her head with all her might. She still had a trump card. She also had a spirit pet. Her spirit pet was given by Master specifically to control that little divine dragon. But she still hadn't had an opportunity to release it, and she was about to die just like this. Su Qing felt extremely unwilling. "You have a spirit pet? Too late." Su Luo's tone was unprecedentedly soft. Her gentle gaze looked at Su Qing. Then her hand used strength to pinch. One could only hear a snap sound, and Su Qing's skull was directly crushed into pieces by Su Luo. Su Qing, facing death, was still unwilling. Why? She had used her future 100 years of life to exchange for this fast cultivation speed and still couldn't be compared to Su Luo. Why? But she would never have a way to ask why. Because she had closed her eyes forever. She would never utter another sound. After tossing down Su Qing's body, Su Luo slowly stood up. The Su Luo at this time had completely become the focus of everyone present. Originally, Su Luo was insulted by everyone, and at this moment, she stunned everyone. Her expression was full of arrogance and determination. She lifted her head up high, and she was contemptuous of those under the stage whose mouths formed O shape. Her icily arrogant glaze swept by Su Zian, who was in such despair as if his heart had been torn and his lungs were split. That imposing pressure coming from Su Lu's body jolted everyone to a stop at the scene. In an instant, making people lose their ability to think. The her right now was more brilliant than the biggest pearl from the eastern sea, more dazzling than the bright sunlight. Chapter 1457. Su Qing dies 4. Nangong Luyun lifted his eyes, looking at the Su Luo on the stage being watched by 10,000 pairs of eyes. His eyes were full of smiles. His family's Luo could be a cute, adorable girl. She could also be Her Majesty the Queen worshipped by everyone. was really like her. Nangong Luyun extended out his long and jade-like finger, lightly placing it over his heart. The heart there beat faster than twice its normal speed and more. Luo Luo, my heart. Without you, I would not be complete. At this moment, every powerful family in the VIP seats had different expressions. The master of Bachin Palace had a warm smile, a very short several years. From a good-for-nothing waist to a 9th rank. On this continent, there has never been such a brilliant, outstanding, and super talented person. The master of Green Jade Palace at his side slowly shook his head. Did you forget that person from the legend? That person, don't mention it, don't mention it. Bachin Ying's father waved his hand. Just what kind of character? That even his father didn't dare to mention. When Bachin Ying entered, he heard this dialogue and couldn't help but be secretly curious. However, when Bachin Ying asked, his old man slapped him on the head. Being curious killed the cat. Don't ask things that shouldn't be asked. As a result, Bachin Ying could only rub his nose and run away. On the stage, Su Luo, who was resplendent as the most precious pearl, walked down from the stage, step by step. Just now, Su Zian was sitting there foolishly, but seeing Su Luo walk down, his entire person seemed to have gone mad as he threw himself on her. He loudly yelled, "Su Luo, you slut. For good or bad, Su Qing is still your older sister, ah. She is your older sister. How could you?" However, before Su Zian even got close to Su Luo, a powerful wind strike slapped him flying. Su Zian was heavily tossed to the ground. The fall badly battered him until he was dizzy with blurred vision. When he struggled up and was about to continue cursing Su Luo, he discovered that standing by her side was this country's His Highness Prince Jean. Nangong Liuyun's eyes were overcast and ruthless. Just one glance sweeping by would make a person's heart give birth to fear. Su Zian, you can get lost. Very few people knew the things that made His Highness Prince Jean angry. Because the people that provoked his anger, the overwhelming majority, had already left this mortal world, aside from Su Luo. Su Zian felt suffocated by that gas in his throat that wouldn't go up or down. Choking this back simply was about to give him internal injuries. Circumstances were stronger than him. Su Zian absolutely couldn't do anything about it. He could only pant with rage and toss his sleeves to walk away. "Stop!" Su Luo coldly uttered. Su Zian stopped and turned his head back. Su Luo said in an ice-cold tone, "Su Zian, your habit of indiscriminately calling people daughter is extremely bad. I don't want there to be a next time. If there is a next time, I imagine Su Qing would be very happy to have a close relative to go accompany her." Su Zian's back cooled down in a flash. He actually criticized Su Luo in such a public place with numerous people. The only reason was to make Su Luo's reputation to be extremely terrible, make her live under the pressure of public opinion and among the rumors. If he couldn't live well, he also didn't want Su Luo to live well. It was just that simple. Therefore, he kept dunking the basins of feces on Su Luo's head. Everyone likes to gossip, therefore, this matter would certainly spread out. At that time, even if Su Luo had 100 mouths, she still wouldn't be able to dispute it. But he was counting the chickens before they were hatched for this good plan of his. If Su Luo wanted to destroy it, she only needed to say one sentence. Su Zian was so angry that his skull hurt. However, recalling His Highness Prince Jin's threat, he glared at Su Luo, panting with rage. He just turned around and started to walk away. "You actually don't want your daughter's body? In this world, how could there be such a fickle and cold-natured father like you?" Su Luo deliberately denounced in a loud voice, letting a close relative's body dry in the wilderness. "Don't tell me this is the latest rule your Su Manor had drawn up?" "Of course not." Su Zian was forced by Su Luo until there was no place to retreat. There's nothing else he could do, so he could only run up to the fighting stage. When he saw that bitter expression of Su Qing's, you could imagine how conflicted his heart was. Chapter 1458, Behind-the-Scenes Person 1. Originally, Su Qing was Su Zian's last hope, because Su Luo was unwilling to return to Su Manor. Su Qing's appearance just happened to make up for the deficiency because of Su Luo's matter. Moreover, at that time, Su Qing's strength seemed to be much better than Su Luo's. Also at that time, Su Xian's excitement wasn't something that could be described with words. But who would have known that later developments would be so hair-raising? The one he was most optimistic about, Su Qing, was actually killed by Su Luo. This completely overturned everyone's understanding, including Su Xian's. Su Xian looked at the Su Qing lying on the ground, and each of the veins on his forehead throbbed. To see his child die before him was like just having been in the joy of heaven, all of a sudden being dropped into the abyss of hell, such an intense fluctuation in mood. The essence of his heart could be regarded as pretty strong. Even now, he still hadn't collapsed. Su Xian's body swayed, and he lifted his eyes. He unwaveringly stared at Su Luo with a gaze full of extreme hate, cold light flickering nonstop in his eyes. Su Luo, indifferently, returned his gaze, standing there facing the wind like a goddess that came from the heavens. Her face had a smile that seemed illusory, as if she was an observer of every living being on earth. This was precisely the disparity in strength. If Su Xian's strength could go up, why would he fear Su Luo? Now, not to say Su Xian, even his father already wasn't Su Luo's opponent. Recalling 2 years before, at that time, Su Luo was still a person without a bit of spirit force. She allowed people to bully her. She was a love-struck idiot that even had her engagement forcibly broken off by the crown prince. At that time, who would have thought that the Su Luo 2 years later would be so alarmingly brilliant and with unmatched talent? If he had known earlier. Su Xian's fists clenched tightly. If he had known earlier that matters would turn out like this, back then, he absolutely would cup Su Luo in the center of his palm. But saying these things now was all too late. Su Xian's footsteps staggered. In the end, he deeply glared at Su Luo, then turned around to leave with quick steps. Everyone under the stage, each of them had an expression of despair, because the overwhelming majority of them had lost very bitterly this time. Under all kinds of strange gazes from everyone, Su Luo slowly walked off the fighting stage. Sister-in-law is formidable. Bei Chen-ing loudly cheered. The rest of them all ran up to her, surrounding Su Luo in a circle. Su Luo started to smile. It's merely luck and nothing more. Afterwards, the group of people left, laughing happily. Today, there was only one competition after Su Luo's battle finished. Everyone dispersed. Today, with regards to many people, was a sleepless night. But with regards to Su Luo's group of people, it was a night to count money. Su Luo finally knew what it meant to count money until your hands cramped. That betting shop called Luo Luo was mighty and domineering. Only Bei Chen-ing, this fool, could think of such a name. This time, a lot of large and small betting shops wouldn't accept those boxes and boxes of silver and crystal stones the powerful families had carried over. Now, all of it was piled high in the backyard of the betting shop. Wow! We're rich! We're rich! Ha ha ha! Bei Chen-ing had both hands on his hips as he howled with laughter. Although they had known earlier they could make money, however, they never expected that they could earn this much. If a few more Su Qing could come, that would be great. This money earning is faster than picking it up. Lan Xian stroked his chin, lamenting nonstop. Didn't picking up money require bending at the waist and wasting time? But this way of earning money, they didn't even need to bend down. Other people just carried it over, box after box. A pity Su Qing just died like this. Alas! Bei Chen-ing, seeing this, couldn't help but repeatedly lament. Xian slapped his head. That Su Qing broth, how big a pressure on Su Luo's heart? Now, how good is it to have her resolved? What more could you want? Chapter 1459, Behind-the-Scenes Person 2. That year, when Su Qing was saved by someone, everyone knew being that able to save Su Qing in front of everyone's eyes, that person's strength had reached a frightening stage. Everyone was all worried about when Su Qing would return as a king of martial arts and give Su Luo a mortal blow. Su Qing, hidden in the dark, was like a poisonous snake that at any time might show its fangs and rush over. It made people feel scared and on edge all the time, even if Su Luo herself didn't mind. But the people at her side had always been worried about this on her behalf. Now it's good Su Qing finally was disposed of. After having settled Su Qing, this potential trouble, everybody was all smiles. They started to count box after box of the huge harvest from this time's bet. Besides this betting shop, they had also bet a lot of money in other betting shops. That was all at a compensation of 1 to 5 ah. It was also a very considerable amount of wealth. 3,000 cyan-colored crystal stones. Oh heavens, there are actually 10,000 green-colored crystal stones. Ziyan was almost flabbergasted. She hadn't ever seen this many green-colored crystal stones, even in Purgatory City's storehouse. 50,000 yellow-colored crystal stones. Lan Xian yelled immediately after. 100,000 orange-colored crystal stones. Bei Qining couldn't finish counting by himself and called out a number that he estimated. There are a countless number of red-colored crystal stones. Silvers are too many to count. Seeing this scene, everyone was grinning from ear to ear. Ah, where's Luo Luo? Bei Qining was the first to return to his senses from happily laughing. She followed third senior brother to go out. Don't you go and disturb them. Ziyin, in one move, grabbed Bei Qining, who was about to take large strides to go find Su Luo. Bei Qining originally wanted to find Su Luo to share this good news, but he was pulled to a stop by Ziyin, so he could only rub his nose. For the time being, he controlled the desire of his excited heart to tell everything. Now Su Luo was just sitting with Nangong Luyun in the courtyard, basking in the sun. The warm sunlight shining on people made one feel sleepy, but Su Luo's mind was very focused. Right now, after she finished being too happy, she had somewhat sunk into a low point. What are you thinking about right now? Nangong Luyun saw Su Luo was unhappy. His arm moved, then hugged Su Luo to his chest. Then he pulled at her pigtails. What's wrong? Su Luo's clear, monochrome, limpid eyes met Nangong Luyun's pitch-black as ink eyes. She resolutely said, Do you think Su Qing's matter is really finished? Nangong Luyun pinched Su Luo's nose, smiling gently and full of indulgence. Didn't Su Qing already die? You clearly know the person behind Su Qing. Su Luo depressedly slapped her head. At that time, did the person save her just because her aptitude was good? Do you think it's true? Seeing that Su Luo still wouldn't let this matter rest, Nangong Luyun's expression also became a bit serious. Don't need to think too much on it. This is not a problem of thinking too much or not. Su Luo straightened her back and firmly said, Whether I think about it or not, this problem had existed all along. I always felt that Su Qing's disappearance at that time wasn't by chance. Then what do you think? Nangong Luyun's voice was soft and light, carrying a trace of sighing. How was it that his family's Luo girl was so smart? Unfortunately, these matters weren't something the current her could assume. Su Luo did not miss the light that flashed through Nangong Luyun's eyes. She cupped Nangong Luyun's exquisite, sculpted outline features and firmly looked into his eyes. She seriously said, You tell me, is it because you know who the person behind Su Qing is? Nangong Luyun smilingly rubbed Su Luo's head. This is not a problem you should be worried about right now. When the time comes, you will naturally know, okay? Chapter 1460, Behind the Scenes Person 3, that is to say, in the future, there will be more trouble? The corner of Su Luo's mouth hooked into a smile that wasn't a smile. Su Luo remembered that a long time ago, Nangong Luyun had known Su Qing would participate in this competition. Then he must have some means to know the person behind Su Qing. But no matter what, he wouldn't tell her. Now, the top priority is to reach your master's requirement. Nangong Luyun rubbed her white as jade little face. As for others, Nangong Luyun didn't say another word. Su Luo suddenly felt there were a lot of things Master and Nangong Luyun was concealing from her. Maybe it was because her strength was insufficient. Even if she knew, it was to worry in vain. Su Luo scratched her head. and decided for the time being to focus her attention on cultivating. Along with the passage of time, the competitions were conducted one after another. After Su Luo's, it was Lan Xian and Li Aochen's competition. This competition, Su Luo arrived to watch in person. Lan Xian's strength was very good. In addition, these 2 years, he was in closed-door practice in Green Jade Palace. His family's heavenly material and all kinds of treasure were used on him. Therefore, Lan Xian's strength advanced very fast. The last time he and Su Luo's group parted, he was at the peak of 7th rank, but now he had already reached 9th rank in strength. Lan Xian and Li Aochen were both at the 9th rank. In the beginning, they were evenly matched, but later, Li Aochen smiled strangely and showed his trump card. That is, under the stage, Su Luo cried out in surprise. Heavenly Fire Meteorite Rain. Nangong Liuyun's eyes half narrowed, a dangerous expression flashing through his eyes. It gives off the feeling of having the fire element fused with the water element. Su Luo spoke of her impression. Although they were far away, Su Luo could still sense that super strong aura coming from Li Aochen's body. Not only did this power have a strong attack ability, it also carried a thread of attack power towards the mind. Lan Xian. Suddenly, Beichening roared. Su Luo, in an instant, looked over with rapt attention. She saw a pale Lan Xian trying to evade the attack from Heavenly Fire Meteorite Rain. However, because of a moment of negligence, his belly was fiercely hit by Li Aochen's fist. Lan Xian directly spit out a mouthful of blood. It seemed the injury was not light. Su Luo's hands were clenched tightly into fists. This hit seemed to have sounded the victory song for Li Aochen. At this time, Li Aochen pressed closer, step by step. Every step was a killing move, forcing Lan Xian to continuously retreat. At this time, Lan Xian had already been hit 13 times. Each hit was at least 500 kilograms. Each was a fatal move. Great hits! An excited voice came from the honored guest seats. Su Luo's group all angrily looked over there. That person, if it wasn't Li Yao Yao, who else would it be? At this time, Li Yao Yao's whole body was in an excited mood as she shouted excitedly, "Hit, continue to hit! Li Yao Yao, you bitch!" Beichening directly cursed in rage. Su Luo's face immediately sunk down. At this moment, the battle on the stage had already reached a climax. However, Lan Xian continued to be on the defensive. Taking a beating and continued to be in a defensive state, he simply couldn't release any attack. What to do? Su Luo bit her lips and asked Nangong Liyun. In Su Luo's heart, Nangong Liyun was omniscient and omnipotent. But this time, Nangong Liyun only sighed, "Strength is not good." Lan Xian, lost. To lose just like this? Su Luo looked at the extremely excited Li Yao Yao, then looked at Lan Xian on the stage, staggering left and right from being hit, and almost losing his reasoning. A thread of heartache flashed through her eyes. Lan Xian, this fool, was just like Beichening, cute and bouncy, just like a youth full of sunshine and positive energy. Chapter 1461, Behind the Scenes Person 4, but now he was hit until blood kept rushing forth madly. Not a single piece of exposed skin on his body was good. Lan Xian wanted to concede, but he opened his mouth several times and were all interrupted by Li Aochen's attack. Su Luo suddenly stood up with an ice-cold expression, saying, "It doesn't matter if you lose, just don't toss your life away." Nangong Liyun's brows were also tightly puckered up. If Lan Xian continued to be hit like this, then his lifeline would not be able to endure it. At this moment, the master of Green Jade Palace, who was the head of Lan family's expression, was already very ugly. Compared to Lan family's master, Jade Lakesley family's master Li Yaoyuan felt very relaxed, as if being bathed in the wind of spring. These days, Li Yaoyuan was thwarted at every place, but now, Li Aochen's strength gave him a feeling of raised eyebrows and exhaling in pleasure. What's so great about Green Jade Palace? They still couldn't defeat Jade Lakesley family's Li Aochen, right? So, Li Yaoyuan clearly knew Li Aochen's attacks were excessively brutal, but it didn't seem as if he had the slightest intent to prevent it. Rather, he stood there, perfectly composed. Lan Xian is in a lot of danger, Ziyin said in a low voice. Li Aochen has fused the water and fire element. His attack power has risen up by several folds. The injuries Lan Xian received is also several folds more serious. If I didn't guess wrong, Li Aochen still hadn't used his finishing blow. If Li Aochen used his finishing blow, Lan Xian would be finished. But during the fight, it can't be interrupted, only if the head judge undertakes the task to intervene. Bai Qinying's fist smashed onto the chair in frustration. I'll go find my master. Su Luo stood up and was about to go. If Grandmaster Rong Yun wanted to undertake the task to intervene, then he would have already moved. Since he didn't make a move, then it represents that he won't make a move. Nangong Liuyun's eyes glittered like frost and snow. Su Luo also thought this might be so. Master always handled matters appropriately. He might make a move at the last second. But now, Lan Xian had been hit until he looked like a pig's head. In any case, he lost for certain, so if he continued to get hit, maybe he would have a critical internal injury. It would become a hindrance to his cultivation in the future. Suddenly, Su Luo's eyes lit up. Wanting Master to undertake the task to intervene is not out of the question. What do you mean? Everyone asked together. Su Luo's hand turned over, and a sleepy, hazy-eyed little thing appeared in the center of her palm. The little divine dragon rubbed his drowsy, still sleepy eyes, looking at Su Luo with a bewildered expression. Then it continued to close both eyes, its body just about to fall sideways. Ever since the last time he was seriously wounded by Elder Ancestor Mo's hit, the little divine dragon's habit had changed into sleeping. Don't know why, but every day he was drowsy as if he couldn't sleep enough to wake up. Su Luo had worriedly run over to Grandmaster Rong Yun's place while carrying the little divine dragon. But Grandmaster Rong Yun just rubbed the little divine dragon's head. He calmly tossed out one sentence. This is the sign that he is about to advance. Apart from this, he wouldn't say anything else. Su Luo's heart was overjoyed, happily carrying the little divine dragon back. Afterwards, she guarded him every day and watched him every day. But besides sleeping, the little divine dragon slept some more, almost never having a time when he was awake. Now, Su Luo had a request. She didn't have time to worry about other matters. She pinched the little divine dragon's little ears. Be good. Just go do a little thing. After you come back, you can continue to sleep. Finish speaking this sentence. Su Luo cast a glance at the head judge's seat. Then, she directly tossed the curled into a little ball-shaped little divine dragon onto the fighting stage. The little divine dragon flew in a parabola shape and shot towards the stage. The corner of Su Luo's mouth hooked into a complacent smile. In Master's eyes, the life and death of these children from influential families had nothing to do with him. But he had always favored the little dragon and spoiled him to no end. How could he let the little divine dragon be in danger of getting injured? Chapter 1462, Behind-the-Scenes Person 5. Moreover, other people's spirit pets that ran up the stage would be guilty of a crime and would be flogged. This move of Su Luo's was clearly holding the Lord hostage to control his vassals. It gave Grandmaster Rong Yun no choice but to intervene. With regards to Grandmaster Rong Yun, this was merely a matter of waving of his sleeves. However, Su Luo group was helpless. Therefore, Su Luo had no choice but think of this method. In any case, with Master present, no matter what, the little divine dragon wouldn't eat a loss. Because she was certain of this, so Su Luo was able to make this kind of decision. At this time, Lan Xian was sent flying from a hit. He fell heavily onto the stage, with mouth full of blood, vomiting it out nonstop. He lay down on the battle stage without any strength. He didn't even have the strength to stretch out a finger. But at this time, Li Aochen revealed a sinister sneer. He stretched out his hand and suddenly grabbed Lan Xian in his hand. He ruthlessly sneered, "You guys, the so-called younger generation from influential families. Each and every one of you are idiots that deserve to die. Stupid waste material." Both of Li Aochen's eyes exploded out, reeking of blood, his eyes full of hatred. as if he had entered some kind of hatred he himself had constructed. His mind seemed to be somewhat lost and unfocused. I admit. Lan Xian's breath was feeble, disjointedly wanting to say that he wanted to admit defeat. But Li Aochen simply wouldn't give him this chance. He raised his fist and was just about to smash it onto Lan Xian's head. This move, he used all his strength. If he was smashed by it, Lan Xian would have died on the spot. Stop! Several voices came from under the stage. There was Beichening on this side. There was also Green Jade Palace families. But because Grandmaster Rong Yun had placed a restriction on the battle stage, no one else could intervene and enter. Just at this most critical moment, the little divine dragon, flying in a parabola shape, smashed towards the stage. Grandmaster Rong Yun's temples wrinkled slightly. He gracefully placed a hand over his temple. That girl really calculated pretty accurately that he would intervene. As Su Luo expected, Grandmaster Rong Yun's hand made a small movement in the air, and just now, the agitated berserk and lunatic Li Aochen suddenly woke up as if having been enlightened. He held his head, and his body swayed. Bang, a sound echoed, and Lan Xian smashed to the ground. Although it hurt like hell, when Li Aochen was about to strike again, Lan Xian still held back a breath, quickly and fluently spitting out 3 words. I admit defeat. The people on Su Luo's side all released a breath of relief. Really was too dangerous. Luo, well smashed. Beichening slapped Su Luo's shoulder. Su Luo was just about to raise an eyebrow and smile when, at this time, 2 gazes landed on Su Luo's body in unison. One was Grandmaster Rong Yun's gaze. The other was like a poisonous viper, concealed in the dark. Su Luo couldn't detect who it was, but if it wasn't outside of expectations, then it ought to be from the Master of Jade Lakesley family. Grandmaster cast a faint glance at Su Luo, smiling noncommittally. Su Luo knew she was wrong, so she stuck out her tongue at her master. Grandmaster Rong Yun, in an icily arrogant manner, turned his face away, too lazy to look at her again. But Su Luo released a breath in relief. Every time Master adopted this, does not feel like paying her any attention expression, Su Luo knew she had passed. If Master didn't say a word, just tossed his sleeves and left, then that certainly meant it's dead serious. Under everyone's eyes, Su Luo ran up the stage, making loud stepping sounds. She hurriedly picked up the little divine dragon that was lying on the stage, snoring away and sleeping very soundly. At the same time, she used her fastest speed to stuff a spirit restoration pill into Lan Xian's mouth. Then a rebirth of flesh pill, and also a pill that cured internal injury spirit blood pill. Then, she matched the pills with a small bottle of high-grade celestial spirit water. Chapter 1463, Behind-the-Scenes Person 6, Li Aochen angrily glared at Su Luo. If it was not for her interference, he would already have killed Lan Xian. Jade Lakesley family and Lan family were feuding. Lan Xian's development went far beyond Jade Lake Palace's expectations. After he finished growing, at that time, he would always be a difficult enemy for Jade Lake Palace. Therefore, when he drew this lot, Li Aochen was told that he must take the opportunity to kill Lan Xian. Otherwise, waiting until he finished growing, then it would be too late for regrets. Li Aochen heard this and naturally did as he was told. So, he would deliberately prevent Lan Xian from admitting defeat time after time. Deliberately beat him until he was half dead. Just when he almost killed Lan Xian, a sleeping like a foolish dog little thing appeared on the stage. Then Grandmaster undertook the task to intervene. Sure enough, he guessed right. That foolish thing was Su Luo's. Li Aochen's eyes flashed with ice-cold light, staring rigidly at Su Luo. His eyes spewed out fury like a volcanic eruption. However, right now, Su Luo simply didn't have the time to pay him any heed. All her attention was on Lan Xian's body. Lan Xian's injuries were very serious. Su Luo didn't even think as she stuffed several medicinal pills into his mouth. These medicinal pills weren't simple. Every one of the pills was Grandmaster level. All of them were personally refined by Grandmaster Rongyun. He disliked having it around and in his way, so at that time, he foisted all of it off on Su Luo. However, to Grandmaster Rongyun, these were irksome things, but all the people in the world were covetous of this pills. Even Liaochen, this kind of ninth-ranked expert, when he saw these Grandmaster-level pills, he couldn't help but be excited that the muscles on his face trembled. So many precious medicine pills, Su Luo didn't even think and stuffed it all in Lan Xian's mouth, as if stuffing in sugar beans. Too wasteful. Liaochen, at this time, didn't have time to care if she was friend or enemy as he hatefully glared at Su Luo. Su Luo didn't have time to raise her head and only coldly humphed. Whether it's a waste or not, what does it have to do with you? Don't have time to waste words with you. Wherever it's cool, just go stay there. Su Luo originally didn't have a bit of good feelings toward Li Yaoyao's pile of people. Now, Liaochen had beaten Su Luo's friend to this degree. How could Su Luo, who was being overprotective, have a good face for him? Hearing Su Luo's words, a mouthful of blood choked in Liaochen's throat. After returning to Jade Lake's family, which person didn't switch from arrogance to deference and call him young master, who dared to treat him like a dog like before? Liaochen's face was ashen because of anger. He was so furious that his body trembled from head to toe. But Su Luo only coldly glared at him. What are you trembling for? Keep trembling, and you can tremble out of reason. You are blocking my line of sight. Told you to go get lost. Didn't you hear me? You! Liaochen had never met such a crafty and unruly miss. But Su Luo simply ignored him, directly assuming he was heir. Su Luo currently was not a rootless duckweed. Now, she was also a person with a backer. Moreover, her master was this time's Roaming Dragon List competition's chief judge. Now, he sat firmly on the most respected position in this competition. Who dared to provoke Su Luo? Liaochen took a deep breath, suppressed the boiling rage in his blood. He glared deeply at Su Luo for quite a while. Only then did he angrily walk down the fighting stage. Chapter 1464. The competitions afterwards. 1. When he was walking down the stage, Bai Qinying's group of people was all rushing up the stage. Nangong Luyun was at the end of the group. Bang! Just when Liaochen was passing by Nangong Luyun, he seemed to have stepped on an empty space and directly fell down the stage. Originally, based on Liaochen's strength of a 9th rank, how could he not walk properly on a flight of steps? But he just fell down like that, slipping directly down as if on a slide. In the end, his head hit the ground heavily, giving off a sharp and clear hitting sound. Everyone under the stage watching was all dumbfounded. This was simply too irregular, right? Liaochen's fall made him dizzy and confused, as if he only returned to his senses after a while. Now his face was red like a hot chili pepper. He stood up, his eyes glaring darkly at Nangong Luyun's back. Right now, Nangong Luyun didn't seem to have felt his hatred. His pair of hands was on Lan Xian's back, helping him push open the pressure points to improve his circulation, to quickly spread the effect of the medicinal pills. The biggest insult for a person wasn't being cursed, rather, it was being ignored. Su Luo's group all encircled Lan Xian in the middle. No one took the time to even glance at him. The injury on Liaochen's face seemed to have been meticulously curved by a person. In the middle of his forehead was a turtle-shaped wound, blood flowing out steadily from the wound. It was a ghostly sight. Liaochen's heart was so furious. But those people all ignored him. There was also Nangong Luyun with tyrannical strength. How could Liaochen even go up and argue with him? Don't forget, Su Luo also had a super overprotective master. Didn't you see that spirit pet being tossed on the stage? Other elder ancestors didn't even humph at this, okay? That's because all of them knew that to say it was a waste of words. Grandmaster Rongyun was super overprotective and would be protective to the end. In front of absolute strength, the weak could only shut up. Liaochen choked back his anger, fiercely glared at those people, turned around, and walked off. He did not walk to Li family's VIP seats, because he could not afford to lose this face. Liaochen directly left. It was only after Li Aochen left, before the surroundings exploded with sounds of surprise. The storyline just now was brilliant. The reversal was very fast. Each and every one of them opened their eyes wide, watching the friction between these strong experts, not mentioning other things. Just this confrontation after the fight finished was brilliant, so worth the ticket price. On the fighting stage, under Su Luo's medicinal pills and Nangong Liuyan's critical care, Lan Xian slowly opened his eyes. Second brother, Lan Xian once again violently sprayed out a mouthful of blood. Damn Li Aochen. Next time, don't let me run into him. Bai Chen angrily cursed loudly. Just now, Nangong Liuyan made the move he knew. Only, he also knew that second brother didn't give him a mortal blow, but rather, left him alive. To raise him, how to avenge this hatred, must let Lan Xian decide by himself. I must personally kill him. Lan Xian bit his lower lip, his eyes were very firm. Su Luo nodded. This is your heart's devil. You must quickly become strong, and use your own power to kill him. Otherwise, when Lan Xian tried to break through the 10th rank to commander rank, because of this devil in his heart, it was very likely he would be obstructed and enter recoil of madness. Yes, Lan Xian nodded seriously. At this time, the somewhat lacking and foolish sunny big boy's face was covered in a layer of unwavering determination. It was as if he had grown up overnight. After this battle, Su Luo's group of people's moods was all not very good. Because in the wake of this decisive battle, afterwards, everyone's opponent would be more and more difficult to deal with. This day, very quickly, it was An Yiming and Luo Haoming's turn to battle. Chapter 1465, the competitions afterwards, too. On the stage, both experts stood, facing each other. Are you Su Luo's friend? The corner of Luo Haoming's hooked into a taunting sneer. His eyes were full of deep meaning. Yes, An Yiming nodded without the slightest hesitation. Then I'll let you first repay a little interest on your friend's behalf. While Luo Haoming was speaking, his hand condensed out a white aperture. Luo Haoming, 10th rank strength. An Yiming, summit of the 8th rank in strength. An Yiming was good at calculating, so his strength was somewhat lacking. This was also a very normal thing. An Yiming, after calculating the matter, if he was to win against Luo Haoming, the success rate was at 0.0001%, very close to zero. After obtaining this result, An Yiming directly lifted up his hand. I admit defeat. These 3 words he said very quickly and accurately. He simply didn't give Luo Haoming time to react. Luo Haoming also wasn't planning on wasting much time on An Yiming. He had decided to use only one finishing move of 10th rank strength to directly flatten An Yiming to the ground. However, he never expected that An Yiming would be so straightforward. The match hadn't even started, and he directly conceded. This was not the early stages of the competition. This was already the finals at the end. What did you say? Luo Haoming didn't take back that glowing red-hot white-colored ball of light. I admit defeat. Finished saying this sentence. The corner of An Yiming's mouth gave a provocative, having gotten away with it smile. Afterwards, without stopping, he turned around and left. He only left behind a gorgeous back view for Luo Haoming. In Luo Haoming's right hand was a ball of light that radiated brilliant rays all around. He looked like a fool, looking on helplessly as An Yiming gradually got further and further away. Finally, he walked into the crowd and high-fived with his friends as they cheered. That appearance seemed as if An Yiming had returned in triumph. Fuck! Luo Haoming, panting with rage, smashed the ball of light in his hand on the ground. This was simply too hateful. Although he won the match, he never thought that he would feel such unprecedented sullenness. It was as if he had heavily smashed a fist over and seemed to have hit cotton, making him unable to release his anger. In the end, Luo Haoming had no choice. He could only walk away, panting with rage. Under the stage, Su Luo's group surrounded An Yiming, cheering for him. Brilliant! Should be like this. You guys look, Luo Haoming is so angry that smoke is coming out from his hair. Haha, Bei Chening, this foolish boy, had both hands at his hips, howling with laughter nonstop. Ziyin rolled her eyes at him. Never seen anyone as foolish as you. Someone who is happier after a loss than a win. Then so what? At least our little Ming Ming didn't get injured, right? Bei Chening lifted up his chin. Know perfectly well you can't beat him. Then concede earlier, so as to avoid pointless injuries. This was the most correct choice. But at this time, Anya Ming, with a face full of sympathy, looked at Su Luo. You must be careful. Su Luo was somewhat puzzled. Luo Haoming has a huge hatred for you, Anya Ming said in a low voice. Su Luo was a smart person, just one sentence from Anya Ming, and she could roughly understand his meaning. She nodded. I will be careful. Luo Haoming actually took his anger out on her friend because of what she did. This was simply intolerable. Nangong, next time help me beat him. Su Luo couldn't beat him, but it didn't matter. Her family's Nangong was the most amazing. As you wish. Nangong Liuyun's long and jade-like finger hooked Su Luo's nose. The tenderness in his eyes absorbed a person in its soft waves. This is more like it. Su Luo cast a cold glance at Luo Haoming's back. Man conquer the world, while woman only need to conquer this man to obtain the whole world. Chapter 1466. The competitions afterwards, 3. Now, the competitions that had been completed were Su Luo versus Su Qing. Su Qing died. Lan Xian and Liaochen. Liaochen won. Luo Haoming and Anya Ming. Luo Haoming won. The 3 remaining competitions were Ziyin and Ouyang Min, Bei Chening and Mo Xiaoxuan, Nangong Luyun and Anya Xian. Today's competition was between Ziyin and Ouyang Min. Ouyang Min had always kept a low profile, but he had also surmounted all difficulties, rushing all the way to the top 13 strongest. But what's unfortunate for him was that this time, Ziyin's luck was full to bursting. After she swallowed the promotion pill Su Luo gave her, sure enough, the night before her competition, she advanced a level. She was directly promoted to the summit of 8th rank. Ouyang Min was also at the summit of 8th rank, but how could Western Jin's resources be compared to Purgatory City's? At the final moment, Ziyin took out an absorbing spirit mirror and succeeded in using an attack of the mind to defeat Ouyang Min. So, she got a place to advance. If they were to really compare till now, Ziyin's advance to the top 7 was the easiest among them. After that was Bei Chening and Mo Xiaoxuan. All thanks to Su Luo giving Bei Chening that herbal medicine she stole from Central Palace. It allowed Bei Chening to be immune to ice element attacks within the same rank. Therefore, the ice system attacks from Mo Xiaoxuan was completely of no threat to him. On the stage, Bei Chening smiled like a rat, pleased as punch. It was only natural he would be happy, because that spirit grass actually came from Central Palace. Now, using Central Palace's treasure to resist Mo Xiaoxuan's targeted attack, moreover, he was immune. This made Bei Chening so excited that he almost laughed out loud. What are you smiling about? Mo Xiaoxuan coldly glared at Bei Chening. They had already fought for 6 hours, but because Bei Chening was immune to the ice element, therefore, almost all of Mo Xiaoxuan's attacks couldn't cause him any harm. This made Mo Xiaoxian, who was clearly at a higher level, feel that this was a very thorny problem. You come and hit me, Come hit me, Bei Chening bounced around. His speed was fast as lightning, while continuously provoking Mo Xiaoxuan. The pitiful Mo Xiaoxuan. His luck wasn't as good as Liaochen. Liaochen was a dual-element mage. Restricting his water element, he still had fire element. However, Mo Xiaoxuan only had the ice element, and Bei Chening just so happened to be immune to the ice element. Therefore, all of Mo Xiaoxuan's attacks were merely decorations to Bei Chening. You finished? Bei Chening smiled happily and jumped back and forth at his side. Those movements were simply like a lively little monkey. Mo Xiaoxuan's face turned frosty, heavily groaning from being flustered. If you have the ability, then don't run. Don't run? Okay. Beichening smilingly stood still. Just now, he deliberately forced Immerse Xiaoxuan to release most of his spirit force. Then, what's remaining would be Beichen Ying's turn to fight. Beichening condensed out a thread of fire in his hand. Soon after, the thread of fire became a column of fire, fiercely hacking towards Immerse Xiaoxuan. A small column of fire. What's so rare about it? Immerse Xiaoxuan didn't even put this in his eyes. Just when the column of fire was about to hack his forehead, Immerse Xiaoxuan, with a heavy palm strike, split it. But what Immerse Xiaoxuan never expected was that when this column was split in half, when it flew in two different directions, why did he feel as if medicinal powder was sprinkled on him? Immerse Xiaoxuan raised his head in disbelief. Then, he saw an unimaginable scene. On his hair, there really was a trace of white-colored powder. What's going on? Just at this moment, Immerse Xiaoxuan couldn't feel his feet, as if it was weak and lacking strength. Taking advantage of him being ill, Beichen Ying would take his life. That you're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.